I'm so bad with these games. I really am. I'm bad with just like the, you know, it might not sound like a big deal, but I think for San Diego, for the Padres. By the way, listen, if you're playing Atlanta, if you're playing, you name whichever squad that you're playing. But yesterday specifically against the Dodgers, it's Michael King pitching an absolute gem. You don't want it to go to waste, right? You still got 2 more games you got to face against the Dodgers. If there's a game, obviously Yamamoto was phenomenal as well. He makes one mistake. Andujar makes him pay for it. And Padres end up winning that game 1-0. But I thought it was so significant yesterday. However, the rest of this series goes, get that first one. If Michael King had given up 4 or 5 runs, it's a different story. But the way that game was playing out, it's like Michael King gives you 7 solid. Hand the ball over to Jason Adam. Hand the ball over to Mason Miller. Traffic and some, worrisome moments in the 8th and the 9th. Just get the hell out of that game with that 1-0 victory. I thought that was really significant yesterday. I know as much as I've downplayed things yesterday, I thought last night was significant how they won that game.
Let's get to Fabian Ardaya, who's covering the Dodgers for The Athletic. He's been with us before on San Diego Sports 760. He's back with us right now. And he wrote a really insightful piece about maybe the elixir or secret sauce for San Diego. Is it their bullpen? And Fabian, we appreciate you taking time for us. You had a really interesting note. We talk about this each and every day in San Diego. We're like, how on earth are the Padres 29-18? You referenced the fact that when leading after 7, they're basically invincible, 25-1 this year. Will the Padres bullpen, even with their lack of offense, in your opinion, be able to keep them in this race throughout 2026?
Hey guys, yeah, I think it's why they're in the race to begin with at this point. And obviously, it's what's kept them afloat at this point, especially with Machado, Tatis, some of the other stars not hitting the offense, being dead last in the majors in batting average, and the starting rotation. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have touched upon with the injuries. That's what's kept them afloat. Like it's what's kept them 10 games above 500. So even if the bullpen isn't the thing that sort of keeps them in the division race for the duration of the season, it's at least spot them time for the other parts of the roster to get going. I think that's one of those things that you could argue how they got to this point. The fact that the Dodgers have a run differential way higher than what the Padres have, but the fact is they've gotten to this point in May so far, and they have almost identical records, and you can blame and credit the bullpen for that.
Yeah, Fabian, it's a good point. How you get there, I don't think matters. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that it doesn't tell a story, and we've talked about this before in a playoff series. You can win 3 games by a total of 3 runs as long as you move on. That's all that matters. Just what are some of your, I would say, just key takeaways? Getting a chance to watch that game yesterday, 1-0. Obviously, Yamamoto was great. Michael King was phenomenal. Just give us your outlook on yesterday's game specifically, and your thought process there.
Yeah, that was just a fun baseball game, honestly, to start off. Like, I think Yamamoto looked great. Outside of one splitter he left up, Michael King looked great. Like, his sinker was darting all over the place. And, yeah, the Padres bullpen put up 2 zeros. It wasn't the prettiest zeros, but the fact of the matter was, like, they had those zeros. And the threat of the Padres bullpen, you can sort of feel that over the course of that game, sort of needing to maximize whatever opportunities they did get against Michael King, which they didn't maximize. Because even on a night where I'm sure the Padres don't have, if they don't have Jason Adam on a given night or Mason Miller on a given night, they still have a Jeremiah Estrada. Like Adrian Morejon was warming up for the middle of the Dodgers order in the 8th inning. So having that there, you can sort of feel the tone, especially from the first inning on. As soon as the Padres grabbed the lead, it was the Dodgers not only had to get back in the game, they had to get back in the game before the Padres bullpen could really become a factor.
Fabian Ardaya with us right now from The Athletic. Padres and Dodgers will play game 2 tonight at Petco Park coming up at 6:40. This has been, as you know, Fabian, covering Major League Baseball in the NL West. The Padres have tried to win in the postseason with this formula. I mean, in 2024, they had a very good bullpen. Of course, they couldn't score against the Dodgers in the NLDS. In 2025, they once again had an elite bullpen. They had Mason Miller. They couldn't really score against the Cubs. So I guess my question is this. Is this, what is the value of having baseball's best bullpen? Can that pay off in the postseason, or is it a formula to get to the postseason, but you still ultimately need that offense along the way?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I think it's going to be the thing that's going to help them get to October, and I think ultimately, it's going to matter that their best players form in October to sort of keep them advancing. And I think you sort of talk about that 2024 run. for the Dodgers, especially, yes, their bullpen specifically was really, really good, especially down the stretch of that NLDS. But it is their offense that really carried them all the way through to the World Series. So you need a little bit of everything. You need to be well rounded. I do think that having a bullpen, perhaps more so than almost any other part of the roster, can help paper over some of the concerns you have elsewhere. Where if you don't have enough starting pitching, or if your offense isn't quite producing, as long as you can win the close games, that's going to help variance go in your direction over the course of 162 games. And obviously, the Padres bullpen is going to have some moments over the course of the season where they do cough up the lead eventually. But it's helped them get this far, and I think it's going to help overcome maybe some of the run differential and underlying numbers that haven't quite been there for them.
Fabian, I think typically for we'll call us outsiders here, we're not watching the Dodgers every night. So there is just this assumption that they're perfect and that whatever isn't working, they'll make sure to cut a check or address it at some point with their farm system. Nobody's perfect. So tell me, what are the areas that you noticed through a month and a half, almost 2 months into the season, where you think the Dodgers have some discrepancies?
Yeah, I mean, their stars haven't hit. It's sort of similar to how the Padres stars haven't hit. I think the difference between the two teams so far has been like the other guys on the Dodgers roster have hit besides the stars. And there's a reason why they are still towards the top of the majors in runs per game and some of the underlying metrics. It's because they've gotten production from other parts of the lineup, but their stars haven't really hit. I think that's the one thing that going forward, you're going to have to keep monitoring, because these are guys who are largely over the age of 30. And like, is this a matter of a slow start? Is this a blip? Is this the start of a decline? Like, you're sort of trying to parse out what is what offensively. Obviously, they had a really, really good weekend in Anaheim before coming and getting shut out yesterday. So I don't think you can read too much into maybe the offense being a problem out for one night. But it's definitely one of those things to monitor going forward. Is this lineup going to start to catch fire with some of the stars and really be driven by some of the people that you would expect on paper to kind of drive the offense?
So blow it up. Basically, this thing ain't going to work. I'm with you on it. I'm with you on it, man.
Fabian Ardaya with us right now from The Athletic, getting ready for Padres and Dodgers game 2 coming up at 6:40. Shohei Ohtani scheduled to start, obviously, tomorrow in the series finale. We're used to him having success on the mound, obviously. His career numbers have been excellent as a starting pitcher, but it feels as if he's elevated that this year. What have been some of the key tenets of his success? When you look at 25 hits and 44 innings, 50 strikeouts already. What has worked so perfectly for Ohtani on the mound this year?
Yeah, I think it's probably simple to say it, but like, he's prioritized it. I think that's the one thing. Like, I think always in years past, you've talked about like when he's done the two-way play, whenever he's had to sort of sacrifice something just to sort of stay on the field, it's usually been the pitching side. It's been skipping a start or getting some extra time off. That hasn't been the case this season. I think it's coming off a second surgery, his first full season of doing both in 2023. It's very clear that he's prioritizing the pitching side of things. I think it's very clear that he wants to win a Cy Young, and he knows that he has a very, very slim margin for error to do that, just because of some of the fact that he's not going to get as many innings or starts as a Paul Skeens, for example. But if he's going to sort of keep a 1 ERA all season long, which is going to say like he's going to do that, but if he does, that's sort of the margin that sort of fits for him to do what he wants. So I think he's kind of prioritized. The stuff looks as good as it ever has, which is crazy to say about a guy who's coming off a second surgery the way that he is. The fastball velocity is great. He finds a different way to kind of dominate lineups every single time. It could be a curveball on a given day. It could be a sweeper. It could be the split. It could be the fastball. Like, he just has so many different ways to get guys out. And he looks like arguably the best pitcher on the planet right now.
Fabian, I'm curious to just get your thoughts on this. When you travel, you get a chance, obviously, you're seeing the Dodgers every single day, and you walk into different ballparks and you see other markets, and maybe it's the Milwaukee Brewers and stylistically how they have to try to win, or maybe it's a bigger market like New York, and it's, okay, everybody's got a different methodology of how, obviously they're going to have success. How do you think baseball, just looking at the way it's structured today, what's the solution to try to have a more competitive balance? I know we all don't have the answer, and if we did, maybe we'd run Major League Baseball, and there isn't going to be a lockout or anything along those lines. But how do you think you can have a more equal setting, if that's the right way to put it?
I would argue, honestly, that there is they have kind of found that in a lot of ways, where like there had not been a repeat champion in the big leagues in 25 years until the Dodgers did it last year, and it took 7 games and a team that was down to the last 2 outs to sort of make that happen. I think it's honestly at a really good place in terms of teams are starting to really spend to keep up. Like they're using spending to sort of keep up with the Dodgers, which I think is pushing the sport forward. I think the fact that the Padres are regularly competitive every single year at this point is very telling. And I think obviously the sale price to the team is also very telling of the health of the sport right now. I think the fact that the Blue Jays are spending, the Yankees are spending, but also teams like the Brewers had the best record in baseball last year. They made it to the NLCS last year. I think there are a lot of different avenues to try to get competitive production. I think you're seeing that right now. I think some of the teams that are really competitive and vying for World Series, it's as expansive as I ever can recall it being, where it's not just the Yankees, the Red Sox going head to head in the American League like it was when I was kind of growing up. It's more. It's like every single year, you just have these teams kind of pop up that are always kind of hanging around. Even a team like the Braves, who have the best record in baseball right now. So I would argue honestly that like competitive balance is in a really good place.
Fabian, can I make the argument? Let me argue something against that, because you think the only way to look at it is, hey, has there been repeat champions? And of course, Game 7 was obviously a thriller last year. Can I look at it and just say, like, I'll just look at the NL West. The NL West, the Dodgers have won basically since 2013. There's 1 year that they haven't won. I think that was they had the 107 win San Francisco Giants that season, which is kind of a one-off in itself. How much do you look at that? Like because I think the thing in baseball that we all understand, anything can happen in baseball, but you do give yourself as many outs as possible. I just don't know if just saying the World Series is the determination of its competitive balance or not. I mean, obviously that's a big deal. It's important, but how much do you pay attention just looking at the division, just how they've dominated over the last, let's call it almost 15 years now?
Yeah, I think it'd be disingenuous to say that like spending doesn't have anything to do with it. Because obviously, like the Dodgers have spent, and that's a big reason why they are where they are. But like that being said, if you cut down how much the Dodgers spend, I still think they would find other ways to be competitive.
I agree
to
with
be
that.
one of the leaders in the sport, and I think that's one of the things where it's been a very, very unique confluence of events in Los Angeles, where the spending is at a place where few, if any, teams have ever been willing to go. But also they have like the firepower in terms of just being willing to spend on the margin. Some of the things like a salary cap would not touch on, or also having a guy like Andrew Friedman at the helm, or like there's a lot of creative thinking and stuff like that, where they've found other ways to still be really, really good teams. And there have been good teams during this Dodgers run where they've stayed under the luxury tax during some years of that, and they still were winning 100 games just because of some of the players they produced. A guy like an Andy Pajes emerging through the system, a Will Smith. So like there are going to be other ways that even if you limit spending, that I don't think the Dodgers will be going away.
Yeah, probably not. Unfortunately for Padres fans. Fabian, appreciate you taking time for us. Enjoy the remainder of the series. Thanks for doing it in San Diego.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, great stuff. Fabian Ardaya. We react on the other side. We will do that here. Just getting started. Schaefer and Sliwa getting you ready for tonight. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. I do want to remind our listeners, you've got a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All you need to do is answer this question on the Talkback mic. How big of a deal is it if the Padres are able to win this series against the Dodgers that they now lead 1-0? Open the iHeart app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red Talkback mic. We'll play some of your talkbacks throughout the course of the 3-hour show. We'll announce a winner coming up later in the show.
Phenomenal.
As well.
Great stuff.
Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic, kind of opening the can of worms. You asked a really good question about competitive balance, spending, and he pushed back at the narrative of how the Dodgers have been able to maintain this level of winning for the last 10 or 15 years, winning the last 2 World Series as well. I'm saying that it wasn't only spending that has allowed them to win at this clip.
Listen, I think tomorrow, if you told me tomorrow every team's got $100 to play with, okay? The Dodgers are still going to be ran very well, and they're still going to be successful. I've never questioned that the Dodgers are not a well-run organization. My issue with a competitive balance is just as simple as, well, if I got 100 to spend and they got 400, yeah, that's going to be tough to compete against that. And I know he's pointing out, look, it's been so long since you've had a back-to-back champ, and it took 7 games and probably took a choke job from the Toronto Blue Jays to not win Game 7 against the Dodgers. That's not my question or my issue. Like, this is why I like the question from a Dodger perspective. Someone explain to me how the current system is set up so everyone's got an equal shot. That's all I want to hear. And I don't think he made that argument. I think if you just make the argument, well, just look at how many World Series. If you told me the San Diego Padres got the chance to knock on the door from 2013 to 2026, and every single year they're knocking on the door, you're going to cash in some championships. And is the only way that you're gauging this is if you won back-to-back? Come on now. That's not the way to gauge whether the system is flawed or whether it's right. I'm going to continue to emphasize this. I genuinely believe this. If you told me tomorrow, every team's got $100 to play with, the Dodgers are going to be in the mix. They're very well ran. What I just don't want is not only are they well ran, but they got so much finances that they could put towards it that if plan A didn't work, plan B is ready. If plan B didn't work, plan C is ready. If plan C didn't work, plan D is ready. The Padres have basically, they got one out here. They got like everything's got to go perfect in order for them to win a World Series. And I think for 85%, 90% of these teams in Major League Baseball, it's a very similar setup. That's not me whining and complaining. That's just the current system.
Yeah, it's funny because on one hand, I completely agree. Like, would I prefer what you're posing? Yeah, 100%. With all that being said, in the here and now, from a Padres perspective, they'll have to figure it out, which they have to some extent. They haven't won at the same clip as the Dodgers, but I'm saying, like, this year, they're going to have to win regardless of what the rules are. And they may have to do the same thing in 27, 28, and 29. We don't know what the next version of baseball looks like, how much more equal it becomes or not. No matter what the next CBA looks like, Padres are one of the 30 teams. And even if the stack remains against San Diego, right? Like if
it's not just San Diego. I'm really talking for every other team out there outside of a handful of squads.
No, I agree. I understand. I get it. I do agree with that. And yeah, I mean, there's certainly advantages the Dodgers possess that other teams don't. I mean, there's nobody would really argue that. I doubt the Dodgers would argue that. At the end of the day, though, gonna have to win on field regardless of it. It is frustrating, but I do go back and listen. It's not to prove his point. I'm not trying to do it. I watched the Padres lead the Dodgers 2-1 in 2024. I'm not excusing the Dodgers spending, but I am recognizing it was in the Padres' hand. Same thing with the Blue Jays, up 3-2 and then up 2 runs in the 8th and 1 run in the 9th of Game 7. Again, not to discount the Dodgers spending, but to say it was there for the taking for both of those teams the last 2 years.
Well, and I've seen the Dodgers also knocking on the door since 2013 and lose heartbreaking losses as well, and lose to, who was it? The Nationals in Game 5. I think it was Game 5.
Or Astros teams.
Lose to the Astros. Like, it's not like again, I go back to it. And I hope I'm emphasizing this the right way. The Dodgers are well ran, period. Like, there's no reason to have any other comment after that. My only issue is, and again, this isn't even just speaking from a San Diego perspective. I just want an equal playing field. I want to know that when the season starts, let me know that it was another front office that just happened to make some smarter moves or some better drafts or a farm system or a trade that ended up being the difference. Let it be for that. Let it not be, we just are going to spend 4x what you can and go from there. And frankly, I think if you had a system, I can't tell you right now. I mean, look at some of these Padres contracts. These contracts are going to demolish the Padres down the road. These are not good contracts.
Right.
Like the Padres are not a good example of this is exactly how you should run a franchise. They're not the model of how you should do it. What the Padres have done is F it, chips in the center, F it, chips in the center. And at some point, you're gonna run out of chips, but they're gonna do it until AJ Preller says, "All right, I can't go back to the ATM anymore."
It's an interesting conversation that has played out for a long period of time in baseball. We'll see if it is rectified at some point this offseason or not. We want your talkbacks, and we're going to play one or two of them on the other side. If you want a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, open the free iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click on the red talkback mic, and tell us how big of a deal it would be if the Padres do, in fact, win this series against the LA Dodgers. What does Dave Roberts think of the Padres bullpen? What does the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, think of the current state of the Padres bullpen? We will share his thoughts with you coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Make sure to check out their hotel and spa this spring and summer at Jamul Casino Resort, where you can experience elevated luxury with their refined hotel stay with rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in now one unforgettable destination. And now take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You'll love their dining options. You really will. Whether it's Tony Gwynn's with the endless dining, you can experience endless dining at Tony Gwynn's Wednesday through Sunday. That's at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. Or check out Jamul 23, lobster buffet every day. Enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. You can start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet. That's Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m., featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight downtown at Petco Park. It's going to be Emmett Sheehan going against Griffin Canning. First pitch is set for 6:40. We got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight when the Cavs travel to New York to take on the Knicks. Tip will be a little bit after 5 o'clock. Facing production swings or a tough skills gap, Workforce Solutions from Express Employment Professionals makes hiring easier. Find your local office and see how Express can help hire smarter and faster for contract and full-time jobs. Visit expresspros.com.
All right, let's get to some of these talkbacks. Again, you can qualify to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All you need to do is open the free iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click on the red talkback mic, and tell us to you how big it would be if the Padres win this series against the Dodgers. These talkbacks have already rolled in.
Hey guys, this is Efren in San Diego. I think it's important that the Padres beat the Dodgers at least 2 out of 3 games. It's important for their psyche. You know, it's a long season. We got so many more games to go, but it is important to them. Hopefully, I win. See you guys later.
All right.
I like the plug there at the end.
How about that?
It's like, hopefully I win. Listen, I spent most of yesterday's show telling you that this series just needs to kind of be treated like another series. There's something to what he's saying there about the psyche of it.
Yeah.
And again, nothing happens in May, but I think this is the right comp.
Sure.
Right now, which team has the best record in all of Major League Baseball? Do you know which team it is?
I would say the Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. Yeah. Does it mean something if the Padres took 2 or 3 from the Atlanta Braves?
Interesting. I mean, yeah, you could argue it means a lot.
I think it means something.
But does it mean as much to the fan base?
Okay, but forget, like, let's put the fan base to the side.
Okay.
I'm just talking about from baseball terms. Hey, they took 2 or 3 from Atlanta. That's a good series. Like, that's a
really good
series. That's an impressive series
Mm-hmm.
win against a team that right now is pacing as the best team in baseball. Okay, now let's throw the Dodgers into it. Is it pretty fair to say that everybody's chasing the Dodgers? Everybody's
Sure.
chasing the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And by the way, you and I were talking a little bit about this before the show. This isn't even just a Dodger Padre thing. The moment the Dodgers leave, I don't know who they're playing next, but let's just say they went to Arizona.
Right.
Do you think that's a big deal for the Arizona Diamondbacks? Everybody's chasing the Dodgers around Major League Baseball.
Right. Milwaukee.
Taking 2 of 3. Milwaukee's a perfect example. That's a team that has got off to a good start, is one of the top teams in the NL. Milwaukee did they play them last year in the postseason?
Yeah, they got swept in the NLCS.
That's what it was. Do you think that's a big deal for the Milwaukee Brewers if they can take a series against the Dodgers? The only reason why I'm saying all this is because sometimes you reach a point where it's not just who you're playing, but this is one of the top teams in baseball. How did you look against them? Then add the element of it's the Dodgers. Then add the element of they're 2-time champions. Then add the element you've had history where they beat you and they crushed you in 2024. They crushed your souls in 2024. I do think, yes, it's May. It's a great kind of jump off point. It's one of the more bigger 3-game sets you'd have so far this season.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're right. On one hand, you don't want to make too much of it. On the other hand, you recognize this team has won the World Series the last 2 years and has utterly dominated the NL West.
Yeah.
At your expense routinely over the last 15 plus years. And it is a weird dynamic. I go back to 2022 when they beat the Dodgers for a moment in time. It's like, well, they didn't win the World Series, but it kind of felt like they slayed the dragon, but then they go out and lose to the Phillies.
Yeah.
It's like if the 2 best teams in the NBA are Oklahoma City and San Antonio, but they don't beat the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could say right now the 2 best teams are Oklahoma City and San Antonio, but you have to finish the job also at the end of the day.
Can I tell you the difference, I think, in 2022 to where we're sitting today?
Sure.
I think the difference now is like they've gone through some playoff journeys here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times, listen, would it be nice to you just come out of nowhere, you grab one, and then you get the hell out of the way like the Nationals did? Sure, I'll take that.
Right.
Listen, I've told you this
Marlins have done
before.
that before. Yeah.
Go ahead and give me one of those, and I'm good for 25 years. I'm fine. But I think for the Padres, there's been a little bit. The reason why 2022 felt so big, when's the last time you won just a playoff series? Yes, I know you had to beat the Mets to get to that point because you beat them in the wild card. But when's the last time you were knocking on the door to get to a World Series?
Yeah.
That's why 2022 was so big. It was so big because, yes, you took out the Dodgers, but to be honest with you, of course, it was big that they took out the Dodgers. Dodgers had won, I think, over 100 games that year. It was one of those years where they had the 100 wins.
But they could have beaten anyone.
But it was, my point was like, they were one series away from getting to the World Series.
Right. Which is
There's
bigger.
been a progression for the Padres, and I think where they sit today, now if they wanted a wild card and a divisional round and they were out again before they got to the World Series, it's kind of like, yeah, we've done that before. What's that next step?
At some point, you got to break through, and we'll see if they're able to do that this year or not. Let's go back to last night. This is interesting because it's easy for us to say. It's very easy to say this, especially with a sport as local as baseball, to be like, the Padres have the best bullpen. Now, I'm not sitting there watching every bullpen, but I've heard people say Mason Miller with Jason Adam, with Adrian Morejon, right? Like, this is baseball's best bullpen. Listen to Dave Roberts yesterday discussing what's it like to face the Padres bullpen.
It's tough. It's tough because, Morejon's thrown the ball well, Adams thrown the ball well, and obviously got Miller back at the back end. And, I think even the last handful of years, they've always had a good pen. And, when they have a lead, they don't really relinquish it too often. And, the numbers when they're ahead 7-0 or in the seventh inning, they don't lose. And so you've got to kind of try to be a little bit extra aggressive and capitalize when you do get those chances.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating to hear it from Dave Roberts. By the way, some of the players in Fabian Ardia's article in The Athletic said, Freddie Freeman included, said Mason Miller is as tough as it gets. So, unless he's gifting you, which he did, 8 of his first 9 pitches were balls.
Gifted 2 walks?
You're gifted 2 walks, and they still couldn't do anything. He's like, you're very reliant on a bloop, some soft contact, something. He's going to have to give you something. This is the LA Dodgers stating that as a fact. I like hearing it. I like the fact that Mason Miller dealt with adversity. He's going to have to deal with it.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
And there's going to be a postseason series hopefully this year, or maybe it's the Dodgers later in the regular season. Dealt with adversity in a 1-run game, got out of it unscathed.
Yeah, I think the Mason Miller piece, and to go back to what Dave Roberts was saying, part of that probably has to do with you got to take more chances when you have an opportunity. Dodgers had a chance to send a runner at third, send him home in the 8th inning, and I'm sure they're all looking back on it like, listen, you're already going up against Jason Adam. You got Morejon that could be coming in. You got Mason Miller waiting. Send the freaking runner. And I think fortunately for the Padres, they did it. But I'll go back to something that you just said, and this is the perception about the Padres right now. The perception is their bullpen is lights out, and they have a closer that is being talked about as a Cy Young Award potential winner. I know it's early, I'm just saying, but his name's has been brought up so much. And if he accomplishes this, then maybe he is one of these guys. Was it Gagne is the last one to
52 for 52?
52 for 52. But I think that there's a compliment to what is the San Diego Padres, which is they're a grind out team. It's probably not going to be pretty. And they got lights out bullpen, especially that last guy that you have to face. He's one of the faces right now in all of baseball. And the Freddie Freeman, everybody else talking about it. I think the last piece in here on Mason Miller for me, I want, when people say, oh, who cares? It's May. No, I want Mason Miller having to face that lineup in May. Also in a situation where he screwed himself over in the first 2 batters. You walk 2, and it's like, okay, now I have to be perfect against these next 3 batters. And he was. And I think there's some benefit to that. I think there's some benefit to all these guys getting an opportunity to play the champs, just because, again, it's like, what can I take away from some of these series that could help me down the road? And I think that game certainly yesterday had a lot of that.
And a little piece of Mason Miller's success was his catcher that was never referenced until he was called up, the journeyman Rodolfo Duran, who threw out 2 base runners last night and was 3 for 3 on ABS challenges, including one big spot in the 9th inning. He has really played a nice role for the Padres. More of your talkbacks on the other side. If you want to qualify to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, all you need to do is open the free iHeartRadio app right now, search for San Diego Sports 760, and click on the red talkback mic and tell us what it would mean to you if the Padres are, in fact, able to win this series. More of your talkbacks next. Plus, was last night the best of Michael King in a Padres uniform. We'll hear from Craig Stammen, Padres manager, up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks contest. Listen every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the nationwide keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Next chance to win $1,000 coming up soon right here on San Diego Sports 760.
I'm looking forward to catching up with Dylan Emery, host of Spurs Countdown and Post Up, their pre and post game host.
Yeah,
he's going to join us coming up at 4 p.m. We have plenty of time to react to talk about night. There. I hate when a game doesn't live up to the hype. When it's just boring, and I don't know. There was just something about that game that left a sour taste in my mouth.
I was at the gym yesterday.
Were you at the game? Oh, you're at the gym.
I was at the gym and went to the gym kind of a little bit after the show ended. And I had like kind of a weird moment going on here. One of the TVs at the gym was airing the game. By the way, do me a favor. Should I complain here real quick?
Sure.
We got a couple of TVs. Want to throw the Padres game on? I don't know. Just an idea.
I have said that for a long time.
Just a freaking idea.
I'll go to the gas lamp, Alan. I'll go to the gas lamp.
Do you
during
address
the
it?
Padres
Do you
game.
say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm one to say something.
I'm sitting at a table and say, "Can you turn the Padres game on?"
And I shouldn't have to tell you.
I've sat there before. I kid you not, in San Diego County with a Dodger game on when a Padres game is going on and the Padres aren't on. And I guarantee that every one of our listeners has experienced the exact same thing.
That's BS.
That's
a problem.
Insane.
That's a problem. That's a
right?
problem. I'm with you. That's a problem.
Insane.
Here's the other issue that I had with the two TVs at the gym.
Okay.
One of them's got the Thunder San Antonio game on.
What's
Awesome.
the other? Sabres?
I almost got news on. I'm like, wait, like I can't even hear anything.
The gym. Yeah, I'm thinking sports at the gym. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I'm saying like I can't even hear anything. So at least in a game, you don't technically need audio to follow what's going on.
Sure.
News.
Yeah, you need
if you're
audio.
jumping all over the place, you need. I mean, sometimes there's just two hosts. I'm like, I can't hear a word they're saying.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, so I'm at the gym. I'm trying to watch these games, but I wanted the audio. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it on my phone. There was like a 10-second. If I couldn't look up at one of the TVs. I'm like, if I look up, I already know what happened. I was like fighting a battle with myself here in the gym.
We're going to get more into last night in the NBA, that insane double overtime game between the Thunder and the Spurs coming up at 4 p.m. and in the 4 o'clock hour. Brent, do we have any more talkbacks off our talkback? Again, we're asking this question for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Answer this question. How big of a deal is it if the Padres do, in fact, win this series against the Dodgers? To leave a talkback, open the app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click on the red talkback mic. This came in just a few moments ago.
What's up, guys? Austin from Vista. I think the Padres just need to come out and keep these games close and look competitive, look competent. Season is still fairly early. The guys aren't really producing much, at least the stars. So as long as we don't embarrass ourselves here early in the season, I'm not too worried about what happens either way. Go Pods.
All right, good call there. Awesome from Vista. By the way, I love when people say where specifically they're calling in from. Keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You agree with that? As long as, but I think it's almost a little bit. Don't embarrass yourself. I don't want anybody to think of that. I mean, this team's been too good this year, I think, to put that in the conversation. Maybe you could look at individual players and say they've embarrassed themselves, but not the team.
Did you ever watch when you were younger the made-for-TV magic specials with like David Blaine?
Yes.
You know, like we like levitates or does card tricks.
I didn't watch those, but I watch them all on YouTube. But yes,
but you've seen the David Blaine, or
David
even if
Blaine
it's David Copperfield going back before that, or I'm sure there's modern magicians. The Padres 29-18 record would make a David Blaine trick look almost pedestrian. There's a little bit of Houdini in there until I read Fabian Ardaya today, and he pointed it out. He said it's their bullpen. They hold every lead. They grab a lead. They hold them all. They're 25-1 after 7. I think they've had 2 losses when trailing after 6. That's their secret sauce. Will that hold all year? I hope. But that's their magic trick that they've displayed so far.
How do we view that? Like, how do we
know, man?
Because listen, I think there comes a point. We could have said it early on where this ain't going to last, that this is not how you win baseball games, that eventually, this thing is going to fold. I mean, John, they're beating up pretty good teams.
Sure.
I think went to Seattle. I thought were phenomenal in Seattle. I mean, really, since that Brewer series, they're 11 games over 500 now. They're at a new high mark this season. 10 was the high mark when they started 19-9. They swept the Seattle, and all of a sudden they were 10 games over 500. I think I remember telling you when the month of May started, I'm like, I'll take a 500 month of May, which was 8 games over 500. So here they are now.
3 over in the month.
3 over in the month. I mean, if my math is right on that.
No, your math is right.
I mean, can't we just kind of look at them and just say, hey, their bullpen is why they're able to win games. Their pitching has been good enough to win close games, and they get timely hitting from a lot of players that, obviously we didn't think. I mean, do we at this point think Andujar is this is the player that he is? Do we think at this point, hey, Gavin Sheets might be having one of his best years of his career? Maybe we just kind of we're not a week in. Like,
No.
we're almost
A third of the way through the season.
That's a pretty good sample size.
I agree. Maybe it is sustainable. Let's hear from Craig Stammen, Brent. Last night, Padres win 1-0. We've spent a lot of time on the bullpen. What about Michael King? This is Craig Stammen on both King and that bullpen.
Yeah, one of the best games he's pitched as a Padre, I think. He was in control from the very beginning. A lot of punch outs early, and then hung on, made some great pitches at the end to get through 7.
A lot of things have to happen for a 1-0 game, like the defense, Duran's arm, the pitching. What did you just make of the kind of the way this game went?
Yeah, Duran gets a ton of credit along with Michael King. Those two controlled the game, and Duran throwing those 2 runners out were huge, keeping Michael's pitch count down, gave him that extra inning. We got off to a lead early. That also helps. You feel like, even though it's 1-0, it's just a little bit better feeling than if it's 0-0, if you're down 1-0. Feel very good with Michael on the mound. Him and Duran are working well together. It was, pretty awesome to see. His old school shutout tonight.
Old school shutout tonight. First 1-0 Padres shutout over the Dodgers since 2008. It's going back a ways.
You know what I love about Michael King too? Like, this is, I don't know if he needed this to solidify something, but I've heard Michael King be very critical of himself, and he's been the best pitcher for the Padres so far this year.
Last night, he said he did not. That was not his best outing.
All right, well, let me tell you something. I shout out to him. Like,
Right.
there's some people that, let's just say, they overblow their value, and other people that under. Yeah. However you want to describe it. I thought what was so cool yesterday is, Michael King had some of the best bats in all of baseball, just looking lost on some of his movement. He was just phenomenal. He was great. I think 2 things you could say were established last night. The Michael King of, like, yeah, this guy can go up against anybody on any day. It felt like yesterday felt like a game 1 pitching matchup in the middle of the postseason. Like, it felt yesterday had the vibe of like, here's your best guy, here's our best guy, go mano a mano, and let's see what happens. And Michael King has established himself that, I'm the best pitcher for the Padres, and I don't even want to. I think Randy Vasquez has been awesome, but there's nobody that you're obviously more confident with. Of course, you wish Nick Pivetta was out there, but that part of it and the Mason Miller part, just kind of those 2. You got one guy going 7 innings. Obviously, Mason Miller closing out. I think for both of those guys, those were important nights.
I mean, what's amazing is he's flying under the national radar. Paul Skeens has his 2 ERA, which is great. And Shohei Ohtani is a sub-1, which is great. And Mason Miller is a lead. Michael King has a 2.31 ERA in 10 starts and a 1 whip, walks and hits over innings. He has been awesome. Probably one of the 5 or 6 best pitchers in the National League. Not the best, but probably one of the top 5 or 6. And this is a guy that missed a lot of time last year and had to work himself back into this.
Look at his last 2 starts against the Brewers, where the Brewers get that 1 run, that kind of wonky run.
That was so wonky.
A ball doesn't even get out of it.
Gavin,
but those are his last 2 starts. Look at Yamamoto, and give me the guy's name again from Milwaukee. The ace from Milwaukee. Mizorowski and Yamamoto are the last 2 guys he's gone up against.
And he's beaten. Well, yeah, they've prevailed.
Theoretically, yeah.
Let's sneak in this call right now from Shardo, who wants to comment on the Padres and the Dodgers series. Padres have taken the first game of this 3-game set. Shardo, you're on with Schaefer and Sliwa.
So I'm a longtime San Francisco Giants fan. I absolutely despise the Dodgers. I don't like their team in any way. I don't like Freddie Freeman. I don't like Mookie Betts, and I don't like Shohei Ohtani. I think the Padres have to sweep LA in this series. I mean, you have to. You have to take these. You have to beat these Dodgers for me, because I don't like them. Like, they're just like. They're just not a good team. I mean, you have to beat them for me.
We'll do it for you, Shardo.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
All right, we're going to switch gears to the NBA.
It's not an easy feat, by the way.
It's on you and me. It's on you and me. Let's switch gears to last night. Thunder and Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. Dylan Emery, host of Spurs Pre and Post, will join us on the other side. Are we watching the most unique basketball player of our lifetimes in Victor Wembanyama? We'll discuss that series in the Eastern Conference Finals as well. Coming up next, hour 2 of Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. The Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emmett Sheehan going against Griffin Canning. First pitch is set for 6:40. We got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight in the NBA when Cleveland travels to New York to take on the Knicks. Tip-off for that game will be a little bit after 5 o'clock. Safety starts underneath. That's why shop owners trust Napa for undercar solutions that stop issues, go further with complete repairs, and grow their business. From brake rotors to struts, Napa has what you need to keep undercar under control.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is Hour 2, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're about to catch up with Dylan Emery, the host of Spurs Countdown and Post Up on the Spurs flagship. What a night last night in the Western Conference Finals with the Spurs prevailing in double overtime. And Dylan Emery is with us, right? This is an incredible game.
Why was I stressed? I had no reason to be stressed.
I need to do the full disclosure with Dylan. My wife is like obsessed with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It makes no sense. We're in San Diego. She actually grew up a Pacers fan, and then she was all mad last year when they lost in 7, the Pacers, but then turned into like being infatuated with Shai, whatever.
We're still trying to figure it out, brother.
We're sitting there watching this game last night, and we're both looking at each other like, how on earth is Victor Wembanyama doing this on this stage? So I would ask you, as someone that watches this night in and night out, have you run out of ways for your brain to process what Victor Wembanyama does on a basketball floor?
I will be honest with you, fellas. Watching this guy for the past 3 years now, we literally just sit in awe. When we're at the games and we're like seeing it, we're like, how does he do this night in and night out? And then last night, that was just fuel for fire for him. Ending up 3rd place on the MVP race, looking at SGA. Apparently, I guess your wife was living that moment as well with SGA get the MVP. But at the end of the day, he was on a mission, and he proved it last night. And guys, he can play over 40 minutes, and that was the first time he's ever even done that with OKC.
Dylan, he hits that shot, and I spend a lot of my time outside of doing this. I spend a lot of coverage around Lakers, but I love the NBA in general. And I'm watching Victor Wembanyama down 3, and he pulls up from, do we know how far that was? 28, 29, whatever it was.
28 feet, 29 feet, something like that.
All right, so he hits that 3. And, that's the ball game right there. If you don't hit that shot, the game is over. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to grab a rebound. Like, just walk me through what does it take for someone like him to say, all right, you know what? I'm not going to play the traditional, play the clock, go for 2, then play the foul game, all this. Well, what does that mean that a 22-year-old is comfortable saying, I'm going to take this shot, and it's basically do or die based off of this one, this one bucket? What do you think that moment meant?
It was the monks that were talking to him that he visited during the offseason that gave him this confidence. I mean, just to see the confidence level of him going down there. By the way, same location that Steph Curry did that as well in OKC a long time ago. But when you've got a guy who's 7'5", 7'6", depending on the program notes, that can do what Steph Curry does, but then can also get down low, it's truly unbelievable. And the swag and the leadership of this guy, he's young. He's not, a lot of us will talk about it down here that, we try to compare him to Tim Duncan. We're not comparing anybody on this team anymore to the guys that won the championships 5 times, about 10 years ago. This is a new generation. And Dylan Harper, even last night in postgame, he was asked, what did you think? And he was like, I knew he made it from the moment he shot it. I mean, the confidence in this team is unbelievable. And of course, this city, I think a lot of people out today were already buying brooms. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. That was just one game. But the swagger of Victor Wembanyama has been a big thing this season because we didn't really see that in the first 2 seasons. Obviously, his second season cut short. But then this season, just to see his leadership and just to see these guys come back from 15 down or 17 down or even 25 down. They have done it all, and they've been picked against by the national media all season long as well. And then, of course, they go into OKC last night and do what they had to do.
It's interesting you say, like, how fans feel about the game one win. Obviously, it means so much to win on the road. Dylan Emery is with us right now. He hosts pre and post for the San Antonio Spurs. So it is one thing to win game one. It's another thing to win a best of 7 series. But the Spurs have had Oklahoma City's number. They're 5-1 now, regular season and postseason. What's the common theme? Like, how have they been able to do this since the start of the year?
You know, the common theme is exactly what Williams was saying last night. There's a guy out there that's 7'5" that he takes up a lot of space. And the Spurs have a great supporting cast. When you have a starting five that almost, averages double digits during the regular season, and they all come together, and it's night in, night out. The good thing about Wemby is some nights he'll have 19 points, and they'll still beat a team by 30. Tell that to Minnesota on Game 6. But at the same night, it's just the way they are. This combination is sick, to be honest with you. Like when Mitch Johnson, which, by the way, I really hope that this man does get Coach of the Year, can say, you know what, De'Aaron Fox is going to rest tonight. I'm going to put in the rookie Dylan Harper. And Dylan Harper goes off and has 24 points and basically becomes a man in front of everybody's eyes last night. And you just got to go, what is this team? I mean, it's something special. I don't know if it's the Riverwalk water that we have down here or not, but I'm telling you, this team is something to watch.
Don, how important? I thought when, looked like the Spurs were going to win in regulation, the game goes to OT. I thought yesterday was going to be this is a little too dramatic, but a devastating loss for the Spurs, right? Like you're trying to put your foot down. You kind of control most of the game. And then next thing you know, you're in OT. And I want to say at one point, maybe OKC had a 4-point lead, something like that. How big was that one win in the scheme of a 7-game set? And how kind of crucial do you think that was if they lost that game? I just would love to hear your perspective on both sides.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was sitting there watching us see this lead slip away in the fourth quarter. And I said, man, this is not the one that you want to give away because you have been ahead a majority of the night, and the only thing is when I looked at the final numbers, OKC only led this thing as much as 3 points the whole night, but late, and then you're not at home. You don't have the fans behind you, have them against you. I thought that would have been a devastating blow for the San Antonio Spurs. But then I started really thinking as the overtime took over, and then we get into that second overtime, and we see kind of the Spurs kind of pull away a little bit, get that 4-point cushion. You see the block happen. Then you just see the life get sucked out of the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. And I really think, Alex Caruso, let's give him credit, first of all, because we're never going to see those types of points again from him in this series because that was a absolute dog effort from him. And kudos to him for his 30-plus points last night. Because if it wasn't for him, we're not talking about how great this game was because he actually kept him in it. And that's who kept him in it. That was the shocking part. Is SGA and all these guys, are they going to have something? I don't know, because after a 2 overtime loss, you haven't lost in the playoffs this season, and you have that, it's going to be hard because Victor and the Spurs, they're coming for game 2. It's house money, and give or take, they're going to play great because, guys, when you look at the numbers for the Spurs, they had an off night. Steph Castle had over 11 turnovers last night, and the Spurs shot only 30% from three-point lines. Usually, if you're doing that in a game, you're losing a game. The Spurs get a win, practically steal this win, and they are only going to get better because I know a lot of guys are saying OKC is going to be better, OKC is going to be that. The Spurs didn't play their best ball last night, and they still got that win in OKC.
I do love how Alex Caruso is now the Thunder center. Like Caruso's matched up on Wemby like the entire fourth quarter in the overtime. It's fascinating to watch how it plays out in the NBA. The one thing that really struck me late in this game, Dylan Emery with us right now. He does pre and post for the San Antonio Spurs and with us on Schaefer and Sliwa. What struck me is how in awe Wembanyama's teammates are of him. When he has these big moments, he looks to the bench and there's all these iconic shots, and it just feels like he's larger than life, even for the players that he plays with. Like, what type of leadership role has he developed over the course of his young career where his teammates are looking at him like that?
I mean, when you look at it, it is a pretty much young core when you're looking over at the bench. I mean, except you got De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Kelly Olynyk, and Luke Cornett, who have been there before. But these young guns, they look at him, and it's just this massive takeover. And I think these guys play with him, day in and day out, and they understand him. But they also understand that he wants a lot of championships, and he's going to do what it takes. And when you have a leader like that, especially how young he is at 22, and guys, he reads books. He doesn't do anything else. He comes out, he plays chess, he reads books. He's really kind of this, unique character, I would say, for the San Antonio Spurs. And when you have somebody like that, it's truly defining because, it took Tim Duncan a little bit. I'm not knocking on Tim Duncan, so I don't want anybody to say, hey. But remember, Tim Duncan had David Robinson for a while, so he had that veteran leadership. Wemby didn't have anybody. He came in as the number 1 draft pick, and we had Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, these guys who hadn't been to the next level. These guys are all taking the same journey with him right now. Steph Castle, Keldon, and all these guys. This is their first year, but they're not acting like this is their first year because they have Victor Wembanyama as a leader, and this guy's going to be putting San Antonio back on the spotlight. I heard you guys earlier talking about how, you look at OKC and the Denver Nuggets, these teams that win championships, and then they expect people that they're going to win those championships over and over and over again. Well, San Antonio rebuilt for a while, and San Antonio is back, and OKC and San Antonio is probably going to be your Western Conference Championship Finals for a long time coming.
Yeah, I'll say this, Dylan. I think this series is far from over. I think you'll probably get OKC's best punch coming up in game 2. I think Jalen Williams is only going to get more comfortable, but seeing San Antonio win that game yesterday, I just thought was so important. Speaking of which, just kind of from an injury perspective, how big of a shock was it that De'Aaron Fox didn't play, and what kind of are we expecting him to be back for game 2? I think he's obviously just such a critical piece as well.
Yeah, he's an absolute critical piece. It was kind of odd to see him on the game time decision, and then right before the game, they decided that they were going to go ahead and rest him. But I'll be honest with you, with Mitch Johnson and what we've seen this season, these guys have been able to get that rest because of that young core and how fast they're developing. As far as him coming out in game 2, absolutely. He's going to be ready to go from what I'm hearing. And he'll be out there on the floor, and he'll help provide that veteran leadership to hopefully keep us off of some overtime games, if we have that chance down the road. But you guys are right. OKC, they're going to come with their best punch tomorrow because I'm telling you right now, if they don't take game 2, it's going to be very hard for them down here on the Riverwalk this weekend.
Dylan, appreciate you taking time for us. What a night. I didn't play in this game, believe it or not. Yep. But after the game, I'm like, I am beat.
You were tired. Yeah.
I was tired.
I pulled a hamstring watching there in first OT.
Seriously, right? Yeah. Like, how does Victor Wembanyama do that? I was tired.
49 minutes.
You think he's like tired? he's a kid. He's still young. But an incredible effort. What a game. And Dylan, we appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego.
Appreciate you guys. Have fun.
All right, great stuff. Dylan Emery, host of Spurs Countdown and Post Up. Yeah, there's some breaking NBA news. Jason Kidd is out as head coach of the Dallas Mavericks at this hour.
Wow.
How about that? So some developing news during the conference finals with Jason Kidd being out.
The hell did he do wrong?
He traded away Luka.
He did not trade away Luka.
He got on the phone. No, he actually obviously didn't want to trade Luka and said it the day of the trade, didn't he?
You know what that is? That's Masai Ujiri coming in and saying, wait, just so I can make sure. I make any decision I want, right? Yes, like you can make any decision that you want. Right. Damn, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd is interesting as head coach of the Mavericks. We're getting back to Padres and Dodgers on the other side. Can Griffin Canning tonight do what Michael King did yesterday? Alan's going to be down there tonight. Plus, more of your talkbacks. Answer this question for us. How big of a deal would it be if the Padres win this series? Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click on the red talkback mic, and you're qualified to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Let us know how big of a deal it would be if the Padres win this series. Stay with us on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760.
That was awesome.
We are playing your talkbacks. What's that? We were watching.
That was just so good. The highlights, seeing the highlights again of Wemby.
Again, last night when you got Padres Dodgers on one TV, you've got Spurs Thunder double overtime. It was just a good sports viewership night. Now Alan's going down to the Padres
Red
tonight.
Sox.
Oh, Canadian Sabres. Let's play some of your talkbacks. Let's play one from, again, we're asking you to let us know how big of a deal you think it is if the Padres win the series.
Big deal. We overreacted to it. Are we not? You know, whatever it is. Yep.
Open the app, search for 760, click on the red microphone icon. One of you that does that is going to walk away with a family 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. This came off our talkback line.
Hey, Schaefer and Sliwa. It's Marcos from PBE. I just wanted to say that I think that the Dodgers series is important, but it's not really any more valuable than any other 3 games. But to San Diegans, it means just a little bit more. As far as the Padres sustaining what they've got going, I think they've had very few shutouts, and they've shut out quite a few teams, and they just find a way to win. Go Pods.
Good stuff there from Marcos.
Yeah, very good.
Now, one of 2 things here real quick with Marcos. There was a little kind of whispering there, right?
You think he's at work?
Maybe at work?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let me just squeeze one of these in real quick.
Right.
He got it in. He's also in Pacific Beach. Time of day.
Oh, you think he's like
maybe just enjoying his life? You know what I mean?
Enjoying the after gorgeous
just enjoying the life.
Spectacular outside.
What would you be doing around that?
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz,
Come on.
and I'm fine.
There you go.
He probably is 422 right now. I think that came in at a certain time.
Right. All right.
Marcos, living the life out there.
If you want to qualify like Marcos for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Yeah.
And he gets to the San Diego County Fair based off of that kind of vibe. My man is eating good at the San Diego County Fair.
He will have some options.
Yes.
He will have some options. Get your talkbacks in. We'll announce a winner at 5:45. There's still time to get those in. How big of a deal would it be if the Padres win this series against the Dodgers? Open the app, search for 760, click on the red talkback mic. Last night, Michael King. Now, Alan's going tonight. So if they win, Sliwa gets all the credit. If they lose, it's all on you. You're going to go tonight.
I'm right now 1-for-1 on the season, or 1-1 on the season.
Yeah, that is good.
1-1 against Seattle. Got the whole Michael King experience. I think that's when they swept the Mariners. Follow that up with an absolute L at Angels Stadium when I went up to that game.
That's right. So you're 1-1.
Yeah.
So there's a lot riding on both your performance in the stands tonight, but also Griffin Canning.
Yeah, I think a little bit more for Griffin Canning, but yes.
Because the Padres yesterday, again, this is a Dodger lineup that had scored 30 runs in the last 3 games and had won 5 straight overall. You can just look at the lineup. And then Michael King did what he did. So now you kind of fear from a Padre fan perspective.
It's almost inevitable.
Is there an inevitability here tonight with the Dodgers who had been hot against Griffin Canning, who has struggled his last 2 times out?
Yeah, listen, I don't, not crazy about the spot for Griffin Canning. You know, like I like it tomorrow for Randy Vasquez because I want Vasquez to get one of those starts.
Right.
Just because even if it doesn't go perfect for Randy Vasquez, give him one of those opportunities. Give him a matchup against Shohei. I think that will benefit Randy Vasquez down the road, you know, as the season progresses. Tonight, Griffin Canning, I'm kind of, there's a part of me, it's like the Dodgers were 0-for-7 yesterday, runners in scoring position. They had some opportunities towards the end of that game. They didn't capitalize. They are the Dodgers. And they got unbelievable bats. So you surprised today if they're scoring 5-6 runs? You're not. So it's going to be a challenge. Let's see what he can do. At the worst, it's going to be a learning experience for him. And let's, you know, again, I'll go back to it. I felt a lot more confident yesterday with Michael King on the mound. This is going to be a tough one for Griffin Canning.
Griffin Canning, last time out at Milwaukee, an inning and 2/3, 5 hits, 6 runs. The outing before at the Tatis Little League Grand Slam game, as we like to refer to it as, St. Louis at home, 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of them were tied to that Tatis ball. But again, his last 2 starts have not been good. So on one hand, do you bounce back if you're Griffin Canning? But on the other hand, again, LA has swung it well over the last week.
What's Emmett Sheehan doing this year?
Sheehan's numbers I thought were solid, weren't they?
He's solid. He's been there for a while. 4.5 ERA.
Yeah, so 4.5 ERA. 41 and 2/3 innings.
Yeah, listen, let's put it this way. Would you agree whatever pitching matchup last night was, and it was a pitching duel, if the Padres are going to win this game, they're going to need to score some runs.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not winning tonight 2-1. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think you win tonight 2-1.
I agree with you on that. But like, this is also, again, it kind of goes back to, and you could look at those last couple of games they played against Seattle. If you're depending on your arms to get you through every game, you're going to start losing a lot of games.
Sure.
So this also isn't Tyler Glass now. It's also not Blake Snell. It's also not Yamamoto, and it's not Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Do they have any other freaking ace pitcher that I'm missing out of this?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, they'll probably get one by the deadline. This is if there's a game to score some runs, it's tonight.
Yeah.
And as much as we've sat here, and how many different games or how many different days have we sat here and bitched and complained about the Padres lineup and their stars not hitting? You're going to need help tonight. Like, this is not going to be a 2-1 game like you mentioned. You can win tonight's game, but it's going to need to be a 5-4 game. It's going to need to be a 6-4 game. You're going to need some runs tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I agree. So, again, Padres and Dodgers game 2 coming up at 6:40. But on the other side, we'll get to the wrap. And also, on the other side, more of your talkbacks off our talkback line. How big of a deal would it be if the Padres win this series? Marcos had a good talkback. You can contribute as well on our talkback line.
The corner of his office.
Open the app, search for 760, and click on that red microphone icon. One of you that leaves a talkback today will win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. But the wrap is coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The report is sponsored by Capital One. Padres and Dodgers are downtown at Petco Park getting set for game 2 of their series. It's going to be Emmett Sheehan going for the Dodgers and Griffin Canning going for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. We got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight in the NBA. Cleveland's on the road in New York to take on the Knicks. The tip for that game will be a little bit after 5 o'clock. And we do have some breaking NBA news. Dallas has fired head coach Jason Kidd, despite the fact that he still had 4 years and $40 million left on his contract. Capital One is a founding partner of the iHeart Women's Sports Network. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase with the Capital One Venture X business card. Big purchasing power means you can spend more and earn more. The Capital One Venture X business card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, playing your talkbacks this afternoon. You've got a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, but to qualify, you need to hit us up on the Talkback mic, open the iHeart Radio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red microphone icon, and tell us how big of a deal it would be if the Padres are able to win this series against the Dodgers down at Petco.
Can you answer that question?
I can, and so can you.
Okay.
But we're going to save it for the wrap.
Oh, gotcha.
How about that?
Got you.
It is. We're going to, you know what? We're going to save it.
No. You do your thing.
Right now.
Okay.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is Wemby the best basketball player of our lifetime?
Everybody relax here, okay? Everybody just freaking relax. No, he's not. Neither was Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan 2 years ago when he made it to the Western Conference Finals. The overreaction's awesome. I love it. I will say Wemby is a very unique conversation. He just needs health. Because if he's healthy, he will be the best player in the world. He's 22 years old right now. So, and his skill set is not like anything we've ever seen. And you can't just there's certain guys you can game plan around. Take the greats. Michael Jordan, you could say, hey, if we do this strategically, blah, blah, blah. Shaq, there was nothing you could do. There's just a size of a body.
Can't do anything about it.
Nothing you could do. Wemby, there's kind of nothing you could do. So, no, he's not the greatest player in the history of the NBA. I don't even know what the question was.
In our lifetimes.
But the man, at 22 years old, you're already putting him in the conversation of hey, Kareem when he was this young. Magic when he was this young. LeBron when he was this young. He's jumping into some quick conversations of look at what some of these young players were doing at such a young age.
Here, on one hand, this guy, just use your eyes. You're like, I've never seen anyone do this. He's like a point center, and he blocks everything, and he shoots from 30 feet out, and his hands are incredible. Alan just sunk I
got him on the pump fake.
Yeah, a piece of paper into the trash.
I got him on the pump fake.
You look like Wemby in here.
Just trying to do a little Wemby.
But here's what I would say. Here are his career games. 71 as a rookie. His season was cut short last year. He played 46 games. This year he played 64 games.
This is his third season.
This is third. He's not going to, correct me if I'm wrong, he's not having a 19-year NBA career. I'm sorry, you can't do it. It's physically impossible.
I know.
At 7'5". So I think he could have an amazing 6, 8, 10-year stretch, which is incredible. It's only year 3. The other thing to consider, and this is not a knock, in his NBA career, he's still young. He's averaging 23 points a game. We've seen guys score 30-something points a game in modern NBA. He's never averaged more than 24 or 25 points per game.
But can I stop you there for a second? He's the first unanimous
defensive player of the year.
Brother, he controls, he owns one side of the floor. Jaden McDaniels, after that series against Minnesota, was I've never seen, I don't know how to
Nobody
get.
even goes in there. When he's in the paint, which is often.
So
they don't
take
even
the
try to score.
23, but then also take a squad can't get to 105 points on the other side.
He blocks 5 shots a game. He's great. I think he's great. I truly believe I've never seen a player like him. I can
tell your wife is rubbing off on the whole Shea OKC thing.
What do you got, Brent?
I don't think he's the best player of our lifetimes because we're old. And, we grew up with Jordan and, Shaq and Kobe and LeBron. But I think he's going to be the best player of Jones's lifetime.
Yeah, potentially.
Kids your son's age.
Yeah.
He's going to be the greatest player of their lifetime, I think.
Could be.
But Jones right now is probably thinking like Benedict Mathurin is like the guy.
Not necessarily. Yeah, more Derek Jones Jr.
Derek Jones. That's right.
They share the same name. Next question.
Will the Mavs regret moving on from Jason Kidd as head coach?
Oof, I gotta be honest. This kind of threw me off. I just kind of assumed Jason Kidd and Cooper Flagg and everything else. Will they regret it? Here's why I'm going to say no. Only for this reason. I like Masai Ujiri. I really like Masai Ujiri. I thought he did such a phenomenal job in Toronto. If he's firing Jason Kidd, then he has a coach in mind. Like, I don't think this kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm just assuming. I don't think this is going to be like the Knicks situation where they fire Thibodeau and then 3-4 guys like, wait, we're not getting any of these guys, but you're the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
You know what's interesting? Jason Kidd in his career as head coach in 10 seasons has a .496 winning percentage. So, again, has he had successful teams? Yeah. I mean, obviously, you've seen it with Dallas previously, with Milwaukee as well. But
damn, that's a shocker.
That's kind of, it's like he's been fine.
Are they just kind of washing their hands of everything?
Start fresh. It's year 2 for Cooper. Look at what the Spurs are doing in year 3.
Trying to make everyone forget about Luka? Honestly.
Maybe. Next question.
Who wins tonight's Knicks-Cavs game 1?
I think the Knicks. Why am I so like...
You sound thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't understand why I want to see the Knicks lose.
Real quick, if the Knicks are in the finals against the Spurs or the Thunder, how many games is the series? Let's just fast forward. Spurs or Thunder, one of them wins.
I think Knicks are going to hang.
Hang in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I do.
That's the reason I asked. Can they hang?
Yeah,
I
do.
Hang.
Knicks got a really good roster. The problem with the Knicks is just it never really seemed to connect. OG Anunoby's got to be healthy. I think they got in a weird way. I think they got. No, they also beat, not that it matters, but remember the, what was it, the NBA Cup? Wasn't it Knicks Spurs?
This year?
And it was Knicks that won.
They're trying to pull off the double? Has any team in NBA history done that? That'd be incredible. That would be an unbelievable banner. That banner would be massive if they pull that off.
That's good.
Did the Knicks really
win? Yes, they beat the Spurs. 124 to 113.
Yeah, they beat them.
They've already beaten the Spurs. So if they lose the NBA Finals to Spurs, they can always go back to that.
I think there's this assumption that whoever gets out of the West is automatically winning a championship. I don't think that's the case.
Interesting.
They'll be the favorites.
Right. Next question.
I think it'd be hilarious if our finals matchup is an NBA Cup finals matchup.
Wait, before you go to the next question, you didn't answer this question. You can't just be lobbing next question and not answer the question.
I agree that the Knicks will. Oh, because you said Knicks. I agree the Knicks will win. I think the Knicks win by 10 plus points tonight at the Garden.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was about tonight. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not overly sold on the Cavs. Great story, great win.
I think Cavs. I'll have to look, but I thought Cavs played the Knicks pretty decent during the regular season.
All right, next question.
What would it mean to you if the Padres win the series?
It means something, and I think it means something for a lot of different reasons. You split these last 2 games, and you take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. That means you'd get, in some shape, way, or form, the Yamamoto piece, the Shohei piece. Right. I think maybe it is a little something from a psyche perspective. Put all that to the side. Taking 2 or 3 of the Dodgers is a really, really good 3-game stretch. You're already 11 games over 500. You've kind of found a way to grind your way into these W's and put yourself in a position, at least, again, almost 2 months into the season. I think it means something. I think it means something.
Yeah, I
not a lot,
want to see it,
but I think it means something.
No, I said going into the series on Sports Night in San Diego with Darnay Tribb, he asked what I expected or wanted to see this week, and I said a series win. I thought they're fully capable at home of winning this series against the Dodgers. Now, they still have to do that by winning one of the next 2 days, but I think there's value in it. I think just like there's value in beating the Braves, to your point, or beating other good teams in the National League.
Lost to Milwaukee, and it was like, hey, you know what? Brewers actually kind of felt like they dominated that series.
There's value, but I can't pretend like there's so much in it. Again, it goes back to the overreaction conversation. Yeah. It's like I'm reacting to it because I know the Dodgers are good. So beating a good team in a series has value. That's how I'm going to look at it if they win this series.
This is the only thing I ask for from everybody who's on X. Please stop putting it's taking a screenshot of the NL West standings when you're a half game in front.
Did you see it last night?
Stop that, please.
Padres are in first place.
I didn't see it, but you know what I did see? I think I saw you put out Padres now half game in lead.
It's too easy you got to do it. I mean, the standing conversation is such a fascinating one in baseball because the season is so long.
Mm-hmm.
It means truly nothing right now. I mean, nothing.
Well, weren't Phillies at one point 10 games below 500 or something like that? I think they're 16-4 now since they changed their manager.
This would be like
Cincinnati choked yesterday.
But it's like in football, if you're like you're 2-1 and another team is 1-2. I mean, are you really thinking at that point you're going to win the division?
Damn,
you're 2-2.
I hate that you put it that way.
But that's kind of what it is, right?
there's a no, you'd be a quarter mark. No, you'd be closer to about a third of the season.
Okay, you're between a quarter and a third right now.
Yeah.
So you're either 4 games in or 5 games in. You're 3-2, and you're a game up on the 2-3 Kansas City Chiefs. You know?
I hate you simplifying it like that, but there's a lot of truth to it.
It's just like we've seen this story play out so long. I want them to win the division.
Well, which story are you talking about?
The story of, hey, they're in the division race.
But that's not, to me, that's such a unnecessary story.
That's what I'm saying, though. But when you go on Twitter last night, what do you say? They're in first place.
But that's such a, God, I can't do that. I just can't do it. I think I have a little bit different of a, would you say I'm a little less typical of a Padre fan? Is there a little bit of a twist in it?
In what way?
I don't put the screenshot of the standings.
No, I don't. I
don't think that's a Padre thing. I actually genuinely think there's just people that, they're just in the moment. Hey, look how cool this is. Padres are in front of the Dodgers. Right. I think that's how they're looking at it.
Yeah.
What I would say is like, that doesn't matter. And there's 100+ games left to go. So if you want to show me this in September,
then I'll look at it.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the standings all the time. I'm just not going to go actively out of my way. And I'm looking more at where are they just in the NL?
Right.
What are the other teams doing?
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you missed our conversation with Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic, he covers the Dodgers. You'll hear it coming up at 5 p.m. On the other side, back to your talkback mics. Back to the talkback line. Hit us up. How big of a deal would it be if the Padres do win this series against the Dodgers? Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the red microphone icon, and one of you will walk away with a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. The lineup is out for tonight, game 2 of this series. Any changes for Craig Stammen as the Padres try to win a series against the Dodgers? We'll have it for you next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Again, that's iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
If you missed our conversation with Fabian Ardai, of The Athletic, covers the Dodgers, you'll hear that coming up at 5 p.m. There's still time to get your talkbacks in, by the way. Open the app, search for 760, click the little red microphone icon, and someone that leaves a talkback answering the question about the importance of this Padres-Dodgers series. How big of a deal would it be if the Padres won this series? Someone that leaves a talkback is going to walk away with a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair.
Just like that.
So I've got my crumpled up piece of paper to shoot in the trash can that Alan's already made earlier.
I still got to get a hoop in here.
I'm going to try to match it right now.
Yeah. Your money, bro.
Oh,
you don't miss.
Swish.
You
You use the backboard.
Yeah.
Tie goes to me.
No, I agree.
Rules are rules.
I agree. I'm more like Tim Duncan.
And
You're
I'm
cold
more like
there.
Wemby.
Yeah.
Right?
You're Victor Wembanyama.
I'm Victor Wembanyama. You know the saying in sports, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Yes.
What about when the lineup is kind of broke, but you're not fixing it?
Then do everything in your life to try to fix it.
The Padres are going back to this lineup where they've broken up Tatis and Machado and Merrill.
So what are they doing now?
They're doing the same thing. The only change is Fermin in there for Duran. They scored 1 run yesterday. They faced good pitching, but it's kind of not broken because they've won 4 straight games.
Yeah, but I don't really know
how to fix it.
Here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to go Toddy, Merrill, Machado.
Right.
You're not going to do that.
They've tried that.
I think they have. Honestly, I think their best chance right now is to break it up like they have.
Yep.
And you pointed that out. I think it was yesterday that, hey, listen, this is the best strategy to take. You don't really have, I don't think there's anything else they can do. Remember for a brief second, Tatis played second.
Yeah.
And he went, whatever, he had 5 hits in a series. And we're like, that's it. We found the solution. Yeah, that's not the problem. So really whatever, I don't know what Craig Stammen can do anymore for Fernando Tatis, for Manny Machado, and for Jackson Merrill. And the beauty is you have 3 high-paid, high-expectation players that just by sheer mathematics, one of these guys are going to get going.
Agreed.
So if you can just get one of them to get going, maybe then that takes a little bit of pressure off the other guys. So that's obviously the hope.
There is this weird stat, dude. I saw this on social media, and I just confirmed it on Baseball Reference. When Tatis does play second base defensively,
Yep.
Have you seen these numbers?
No.
When he plays second, that's 15 games. Any guess at what he's hitting?
When he plays second in a day game when Vasquez is pitching and he throws under 88 pitches.
No, just second.
Okay, just second. What's he hitting?
15 games.
315.
321.
Oof.
When he plays right, what is he hitting?
Well, if we do the math on that,
Couldn't be great.
Then he's got to be hitting 198.
193.
Okay.
His on base plus slugging at second, 757. Holding his own to some extent, not his standards back in the day, but not, terrible. His on base plus slugging, OPS as a right fielder this year is 504. As bad as it gets, as bad as it possibly gets for an everyday regular in the major leagues. Is there something to read into there at all? Are they trying to plug him more in as the second baseman? He's clearly played it a lot more. He's started
a lot.
right?
Cronenworth's been out. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's something to read into that or not. He has had no power.
Yeah, I think the issue with Tatis is he's having such a bad season, and the ball hitting a ball into the outfield is like an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many different times have you seen somebody say, "Hey, in 12 different parks around Major League Baseball, that'd be a home run"? Yeah. What the hell does that do
not in
for the park that you're in?
Right, exactly.
So I get it. I don't know. Listen, I don't think that's going to be the solution. Now, if you told me he's at second, and how many games did you say he was at second? 15 games. If you told me he's played 45 games at second and he has 7 bombs, then maybe it's a different conversation. But that average is not why you pay Tatis what you pay him.
Yeah, it's a very soft 321. His WAR now, wins above replacement, the modern baseball metric, is a negative 0.5 for a player that a year ago had a 6 WAR season. It doesn't make it make sense, is what we want to say, but they are 29 and 18. I still think, to your point, the math supports either Tatis or Machado or Merrill or a combination of them getting out of it. But right now, make it make sense.
18 and 29. Let's say they're 11 games below 500. What's happening at Petco? They booing him?
Probably.
They better be booing his ass. Comes with the territory.
What would they
it's
be
nothing
doing with
personal.
Machado's hitting 180.
You got to boo him too. It's nothing personal. We just, but they're 29 and 18. That's why they got to spend more time right now. I want to see less cheering from Machado, Tatis, and that if there's not a standing O for Gavin Sheets every time he comes up, if there's not a standing O for Andujar for every time, Ty France, some of these other players, I mean, they literally have had. Just think about the names that were thrown out there that have been such a critical piece of their season so far.
Those three have combined for a negative 0.2 WAR. Merrill, Machado, and Tatis. Machado's negative, Tatis is negative, Merrill's 0.4 WAR.
Your attitude sounds
crazy.
negative.
I am negative on these players, but I'm not negative on this team. That's how I feel right now. Yeah. I am negative on these players. No, I never thought I would live in a world where Manny Machado could hit 180 for this long. I'm serious. That guy has been a pure hitter.
Yeah,
he has always hit for average by and large. And for him to struggle this mightily offensively for this long really does surprise me. But again, I'd prefer to your point, he could be hitting 290, but if they were 18 and 29, it's not like I'd be singing the praises of the team.
Yeah, but this is why it's so critical that we just also don't pretend that those guys hitting the way they're hitting and the lack of home runs and the lack of average and really just the lack of impact on the team. Manny said this 2 weeks ago. He's like, if we want to get to where we want to get to, we got to hit. So everyone could be excited that your squad's 11 games over 500, however you got there, everything else. But if you want to make noise in the postseason, you can't not make noise without Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, and Jackson Merrill. If you want to sustain where your record is right now, 11 games over 500, and be in a legitimate race in the NL and try to have home field for a series, whether a wild card round or whatever the case is, those three guys are going to have to produce. So you can have in the same conversation, I'm happy where the Padres are sitting. It's amazing that they're 11 games over 500. But you can also, the next sentence, say these guys are going to need to deliver if they're going to make any noise.
Right. Both things can be true. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it don't they have to?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it's going to have to happen. Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic on the Padres' secret sauce that has allowed them to hang in it, the NL West, to start this year. So Fabian Ardaya, if you missed our conversation earlier, he covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. You'll hear that conversation coming up on the other side. Plus, more of your talkbacks. Answer this question. How big of a deal is it if the Padres do, in fact, win this series over the Dodgers? Open the free iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click on the red microphone icon, and one person that leaves that talk back today is walking away with a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We'll announce a winner coming up at 5:45. But Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic, as we get you ready for the Padres and the Dodgers. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by eBay. Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emmett Sheehan going for LA and Griffin Canning going for San Diego. First pitch is set for 6:40. The Dallas Mavericks have fired head coach Jason Kidd today, despite the fact that he still had 4 years and $40 million left on his contract. We got Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 between the Cavs and the Knicks. They're about to tip off here in about the next 5 minutes in New York. eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, or the foul ball you heroically gave away, it's all there on eBay. eBay, things people love.
All right, final hour of the day. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, Padres and Dodgers coming up in about 90 minutes. And if you missed it earlier, we caught up with Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic. By the way, this hour, we will give away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. To qualify, open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760. Tell us how big of a deal it would be if the Padres win this series by clicking on the red talkback mic within the iHeartRadio app. Let's hear from Fabian Ardaya with us earlier. We started the conversation by asking him, can the Padres bullpen keep them in the NL West race?
Hey, guys. Yeah, I think it's why they're in the race to begin with at this point. And obviously, it's what's kept them afloat at this point, especially with Machado, Tatis, some of the other stars not hitting the offense, being dead last in the majors in batting average, and the starting rotation, obviously, I'm sure you guys have touched upon, like the injuries. That's what's kept them afloat. Like, it's what's kept them 10 games above 500. So even if the bullpen isn't the thing that sort of keeps them in the division race for the duration of the season, it's at least spots on time for the other parts of the roster to get going. I think that's one of those things that you could argue how they got to this point, the fact that the Dodgers have a run differential way higher than what the Padres have. But the fact is they've gotten to this point in May so far, and they have almost identical records, and you can blame and credit the bullpen for that.
Yeah, Fabian, it's a good point. How you get there, I don't think matters. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that it doesn't tell a story, and we've talked about this before in a playoff series. You can win 3 games by a total of 3 runs as long as you move on. That's all that matters. Just what are some of your, I would say, just key takeaways? Getting a chance to watch that game yesterday, 1-0. Obviously, Yamamoto was great. Michael King was phenomenal. Just give us your outlook on yesterday's game specifically, and your thought process there.
Yeah, that was just a fun baseball game. Honestly, to start off, like I think Yamamoto looked great outside of one splitter he left up. Michael King looked great. Like, his sinker was darting all over the place. And yeah, the Padres bullpen put up 2 zeros. It wasn't the prettiest zeros, but the fact of the matter was, like, they had those zeros, and the threat of the Padres bullpen, you could sort of feel that over the course of that game, sort of needing to maximize whatever opportunities they did get against Michael King, which they didn't maximize. Because even on a night where I'm sure the Padres don't have, if they don't have Jason Adam on a given night or Mason Miller on a given night, they still have a Jeremiah Estrada. Like, Adrian Morejon was warming up for the middle of the Dodgers order in the 8th inning. So having that there, you can sort of feel the tone, especially from the first inning on. As soon as the Padres grabbed the lead, it was the Dodgers not only had to get back in the game, they had to get back in the game before the Padres bullpen could really become a factor.
Fabian Ardaya with us right now from The Athletic. Padres and Dodgers will play game 2 tonight at Petco Park coming up at 6:40. This has been, as you know, Fabian, covering Major League Baseball in the NL West. The Padres have tried to win in the postseason with this formula. I mean, in 2024, they had a very good bullpen. Of course, they couldn't score against the Dodgers in the NLDS. In 2025, they once again had an elite bullpen. They had Mason Miller. They couldn't really score against the Cubs. So I guess my question is this. Is this, what is the value of having baseball's best bullpen? Can that pay off in the postseason, or is it a formula to get to the postseason, but you still ultimately need that offense along the way?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I think it's going to be the thing that's going to help them get to October. And I think ultimately, it's going to matter that their best players form in October to sort of keep them advancing. And I think you sort of talk about that 2024 run for the Dodgers, especially. Yes, their bullpen specifically was really, really good, especially down the stretch of that NLDS. But it was their offense that really carried them all the way through to the World Series. So you need a little bit of everything. You need to be well-rounded. I do think that having a bullpen, perhaps more so than almost any other part of the roster, can help paper over some of the concerns you have elsewhere, where if you don't have enough starting pitching or if your offense isn't quite producing, as long as you can win the close games, that's going to help variance go in your direction over the course of 162 games. And obviously the Padres bullpen is going to have some moments over the course of the season where they do cough up the lead eventually, but it's helped them get this far, and I think it's going to help overcome maybe some of the run differential and underlying numbers that haven't quite been there for them.
Fabian, I think typically for we'll call us outsiders here, we're not watching the Dodgers every night. So there is just this assumption that they're perfect and that whatever isn't working, they'll make sure to cut a check or address it at some point with their farm system. Nobody's perfect. So tell me, what are the areas that you noticed through a month and a half, almost 2 months into the season, where you think the Dodgers have some discrepancies?
Yeah, I mean, their stars haven't hit. It's sort of similar to how the Padres stars haven't hit. I think the difference between the two teams so far has been the other guys on the Dodgers roster have hit besides the stars. And there's a reason why they are still towards the top of the majors in runs per game and some of the underlying metrics. It's because they've gotten production from other parts of the lineup, but their stars haven't really hit. I think that's the one thing that going forward, you're going to have to keep monitoring, because these are guys who are largely over the age of 30. And is this a matter of a slow start? Is this a blip? Is this the start of a decline? You're sort of trying to parse out what is what offensively. Obviously, they had a really, really good weekend in Anaheim before coming and getting shut out yesterday. So I don't think you can read too much into maybe the offense being a problem out for one night. But it's definitely one of those things to monitor going forward. Is this lineup going to start to catch fire with some of the stars and really be driven by some of the people that you would expect on paper to kind of drive the offense?
So blow it up. Basically, this thing ain't going to work. I'm with you on it. Man.
Fabian Ardaya with us right now from The Athletic, getting ready for Padres and Dodgers game 2 coming up at 6:40. Shohei Ohtani scheduled to start obviously tomorrow in the series finale. We're used to him having success on the mound. Obviously, his career numbers have been excellent as a starting pitcher, but it feels as if he's elevated that this year. What have been some of the key tenets of his success? You look at 25 hits and 44 innings, 50 strikeouts already. What has worked so perfectly for Ohtani on the mound this year?
Yeah, I think it's probably simple to say, but he's prioritized it. I think that's the one thing. I think always in years past, you've talked about when he's done the two-way play, whenever he's had to sort of sacrifice something just to sort of stay on the field, it's usually been the pitching side. It's been skipping a start or getting some extra time off. That hasn't been the case this season. I think it's coming off a second surgery, his first full season of doing both since 2023. It's very clear that he's prioritizing the pitching side of things. I think it's very clear that he wants to win a Cy Young, and he knows that he has a very, very slim margin for error to do that, just because of some of the fact that he's not going to get as many innings or starts as a Paul Skeens, for example. But if he's going to sort of keep a 1 ERA all season long, which is say he's going to do that, but if he does, that's sort of the margin that sort of fits for him to do what he wants. So I think he's kind of prioritized. The stuff looks as good as it ever has, which is crazy to say about a guy who's coming off a second surgery the way that he is. The fastball velocity is great. He finds a different way to kind of dominate lineups every single time. It could be a curveball on a given day. It could be a sweeper. It could be the split. It could be the fastball. He just has so many different ways to get guys out. And he looks like arguably the best pitcher on the planet right now.
Fabian, I'm curious to just get your thoughts on this. When you travel, you get a chance, obviously, you're seeing the Dodgers every single day, and you walk into different ballparks and you see other markets, and maybe it's the Milwaukee Brewers and stylistically how they have to try to win, or maybe it's a bigger market like New York, and it's, okay, everybody's got a different methodology of how, obviously they're going to have success. How do you think baseball, just looking at the way it's structured today, what's the solution to try to have a more competitive balance? I know we all don't have the answer, and if we did, maybe we'd run Major League Baseball, and there isn't going to be a lockout or anything along those lines. But how do you think you can have a more equal setting, if that's the right way to put it?
I would argue, honestly, that they have kind of found that in a lot of ways, where like there had not been a repeat champion in the big leagues in 25 years until the Dodgers did it last year. And it took 7 games and a team that was down to the last 2 outs to sort of make that happen. I think it's honestly at a really good place. And in terms of teams are starting to really spend to keep up. Like they're using spending to sort of keep up with the Dodgers, which I think is pushing the sport forward. I think the fact that the Padres are regularly competitive every single year at this point is very telling. And I think obviously the sale price to the team is also very telling of the health of the sport right now. I think the fact that the Blue Jays are spending, the Yankees are spending, but also teams like the Brewers had the best record in baseball last year. They made it to the NLCS last year. I think there are a lot of different avenues to try to get competitive production. I think you're seeing that right now. I think some of the teams that are really competitive and vying for World Series, it's as expansive as I ever can recall it being, where it's not just the Yankees, the Red Sox going head to head in the American League like it was when I was kind of growing up. It's more, it's like every single year you just have these teams kind of pop up that are always kind of hanging around. Even a team like the Braves, who have the best record in baseball right now. So I would argue honestly that like competitive balance is a really good place.
Fabian, can I make the argument? Let me argue someone against that, because you think the only way to look at it is, hey, has there been repeat champions? And of course, Game 7 was obviously a thriller last year. Can I look at it and just say, like, I'll just look at the NL West. The NL West, the Dodgers have won basically since 2013. There's 1 year that they haven't won. I think that was they had the 107 win San Francisco Giants that season, which is kind of a one-off in itself. How much do you look at that? Like because I think the thing in baseball that we all understand, anything can happen in baseball, but you do give yourself as many outs as possible. I just don't know if just saying the World Series is the determination of its competitive balance or not. I mean, obviously that's a big deal. It's important, but how much do you pay attention just looking at the division, just how they've dominated over the last, let's call it almost 15 years now?
Yeah, I think it'd be disingenuous to say that like spending doesn't have anything to do with it. Because obviously, like the Dodgers have spent, and that's a big reason why they are where they are. But like that being said, if you cut down how much the Dodgers spend, I still think they would find other ways to be competitive.
I agree with that.
One of the leaders in the sport, and I think that's one of the things where it's been a very, very unique confluence of events in Los Angeles, where the spending is at a place where few, if any, teams have ever been willing to go. But also they have like the firepower in terms of just being willing to spend on the margin. Some of the things like a salary cap would not touch on, or also having a guy like Andrew Friedman at the helm, or like there's a lot of creative thinking and stuff like that, where they've found other ways to still be really, really good teams. And there have been good teams during this Dodgers run where they've stayed under the luxury tax during some years of that, and they still were winning 100 games just because of some of the players they produced. A guy like an Andy Pajes emerging through the system, a Will Smith. So there are going to be other ways that even if you limit spending, that I don't think the Dodgers will be going away.
Yeah, probably not. Unfortunately for Padres fans. Fabian, appreciate you taking time for us. Enjoy the remainder of the series. Thanks for doing it in San Diego.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, great stuff there from, again, Fabian Ardaya. We're getting to your talkbacks on the other side. We're announcing a winner of a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. There's still time to get your talkbacks in. How big of a deal is it if the Padres are able to win this series against the Dodgers? Let us know by opening the free iHeartRadio app, searching for San Diego Sports 760, and clicking that red talkback mic. We'll play your talkbacks on the other side, announce a winner at 5:45. We're getting you ready for Padres and Dodgers. Alan's heading down tonight to Petco Park.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a little stressed, to be honest with you.
What are you wearing?
I got a whole suit that
You have a suit?
Yeah, I have a suit. I put on a suit.
All right.
Yeah.
More on Alan's adventures to Petco Park for the second time this year on the other side, here until 6 p.m. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. My wife's in Vancouver, and I have to watch my 7-year-old. There's the reason. Although I could bring him down. Stay with us on 760. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. Alan's getting ready to get down to Petco Park tonight. I'm sure a number of our listeners are as well. We've been asking you all afternoon to hit us up on the talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the red microphone icon. Tell us how big a deal it would be to you if the Padres win this series. Let's take a listen to another one of our talkbacks here from today on Schaefer and Sliwa.
The series is kind of important because if they don't win, then we have to listen to Dodgers fans talk down on Padres for X amount of weeks until the next series comes, and that makes me just want to projectile vomit everywhere.
That's hilarious.
Don't pay attention to them. It doesn't matter.
That might
Literally,
be our
the entire league is chasing one squad, so it doesn't matter. I mean,
Not just the Padres. You're saying.
not just the Padres, and the beauty of it is, we're just trying to get one.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get one.
Exactly. And again, you're not winning one or losing one right now, as you've continually said. I mean, you can't win a World Series in May.
And what are you going to say? Okay, if the Padres take 2 or 3, all of a sudden, should Padres start running their mouth at the Dodgers?
No.
Of course not.
No.
And it would be idiotic of the Dodgers to be running their mouth at the Padres for taking 2 or 3.
I mean, in doing my YouTube show last night, it's exactly what I expected, which is the Padres win game 1. You have Dodger fans infiltrating the chat and saying, you're pretending like winning a game in May is like winning the World Series. 2 things are not the same. That was so predictable. And guess what will happen tonight if the Dodgers happen to beat Griffin Canning and win 6-3, whatever.
Sure.
They'll all of a sudden infiltrate and be like, little brother, you know?
Yeah, but I think that, like, I think that conversation, we can give it to you. I'd explain it this way. I think this important. I think the series is important, especially after grabbing last night. You got 2 chances to get 1 game.
Yep.
It's important from like we said from the beginning, the Dodgers are the class of Major League Baseball right now. Everybody's chasing them. They got more talent than anybody else, and it's not even close. And by taking 2 or 3, it's a meaningful moment in the season of, hey, it's a great start to the year. You're 10, 11 games over 500. There's a lot from just a baseball perspective. Mason Miller gets an opportunity to face the Dodgers in a very meaningful game. Randy Vasquez gets a start against Shohei Ohtani. What's that vibe like? Like, I think there are plenty of baseball reasons why it's an important thing. All that other ancillary means nothing. I just look at it more from a baseball perspective. So that specific talkback, don't worry about any of the chatter, the noise. That's going to be there either way.
It is funny, though, that, again, there's on one side of the equation is what the team feels in the clubhouse. That's the most important part of this equation, right? How does the team feel about where they are over the course of 162, what the series means against LA? A whole nother part of the conversation is how Padres fans feel about the rivalry, about facing the Dodgers, about where the Padres sit in this hierarchy right now. What's it like to be a Padre fan in Southern California with the Dodgers having won the last 2 World Series, or even 3 since 2020, if you want to throw that thing in? I don't even care.
Yeah.
But you could, like, what is that experience like from a psyche perspective? Because what we just heard on the talkback is a lot different than what Craig Stammen and Manny Machado have to say. But I do understand that dynamic from people living in Southern California, having to deal with how this has played out over the last handful of years. That's hard. It's frustrating. It's annoying.
It's very frustrating. And listen, I'll go back to it. I will tell you that the one thing to keep in mind is there's certain eras of sports where a squad dominates. There's not much you can say. Like, there's not much you could have said about the Yankees in the late 90s. Yeah. Nothing you could say. There's not much you could say when the Patriots were winning every Super Bowl. There's not much you can say. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. The Warriors is a great example. Yeah. The Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. The Dodgers right now are one of those teams that's in one of those eras, right? They're dominating the sport of baseball right now. So it's not it's unique because really here's the reality. And the Padres obviously didn't help in this. They lose to the Dodgers in 2024. And who would have known what would have happened? Toronto didn't help last year because they had a shot to beat the Dodgers. They didn't do it. And you got to give the Dodgers credit. At the end of the day, they had to go out there and win, and they did. But these eras, it's like they're in one of those eras. What is a Giant fan going to say to the Dodgers right now? By the way, the Giants went through an era where they won 3 of 6.
3 and 5. 3 and 5.
Or 3 and 5. That's 14. Right. 3 and 5.
Yeah.
We're in one of those eras. This is their era right now. but it doesn't mean they're invincible. It doesn't mean that they can't lose, and it doesn't mean that you can't beat them in a 5 or 7 game set in the postseason. But we're in May.
Yeah.
And the Padres, the concern should not be the Dodgers in May. The concern should be, can you get 2 or 3, because that's the team that you're facing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other concern should be, what do you look like by the time you get to June 1st? What do you look like by the time you get to the trade deadline? Are your 3 most expensive or 3 of the most expensive bats, are they ever going to hit? There's other things that are much bigger concerns for the Padres than I think the Dodgers.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And again, we're going to get to more of your talkbacks. We'll announce a winner of the 4-pack of tickets
when are we doing
to the
that?
San Diego County Fair at 5:45.
Okay.
And we're going to hit it up. It's coming this summer, obviously, right back here in San Diego County at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. So we'll announce a winner coming up at 5:45. You can still get your talkbacks in right now. Open the iHeart app, search for 760, click the red talkback mic, and tell us, in your opinion, how big of a deal it would be if the Padres win this May series against the LA Dodgers. There's a category the Padres are the best team in baseball in, and we'll share it with you on the other side. Slug? No, it's batting average. It's not slug. It's not batting average, but it's a huge indicator in terms of why the Padres are 29-18. And we'll share it with you on the other side. We'll give away the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. More of your talkbacks coming up next here until 6 p.m. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
The report is sponsored by eBay. The Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emmett Sheehan going for LA and Griffin Canning going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. Right now in New York, we got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. About 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. The Cavs lead the Knicks 13-9. And in other NBA news, the Mavericks fired head coach Jason Kidd this afternoon, despite having 4 years and $40 million left on his contract. eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, or the foul ball you heroically gave away, it's all there on eBay. eBay, things people love.
All right, final chance to get your talkbacks in, Alan. We're going to announce a winner.
This is it. It's over, bro.
San
Right after
Diego
this.
County Fair tickets.
Till tomorrow, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again tomorrow all week long. But we're announcing a winner of San Diego County Fair tickets coming up in 15 minutes. You do have time to get your talkbacks in. Open the iHeart app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the red microphone icon. Tell us how big of a deal it would be if the Padres win this series against the Dodgers like this listener did.
All right, the Padres need to win this. 1, because they're capable, period. 2, I'm tired of Will Smith. This dude looks like Andy from Toy Story. We need to get him out of here. And 3, I want to get that smirk off Robin's face. That smug look. Yeah, let's get that out of here. Let's go, Padres.
That's a great talkback.
I like the end of all those. All of them are like, yeah, feel good about that. Go Padres.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
listen. The way you get a smirk off, the way you get all that stuff is let's go handle business. Again, I think it's really, really tough not to make a big deal about playing the Dodgers. Like I said a little bit earlier, that's kind of the class of all of baseball right now. And you got a good chance to do it. You took the first game. Was it perfectly scripted? No, it doesn't need to be. Is it another kind of different type of way that you find a way to win? Yes. Was Michael King just absolutely phenomenal, and Jason Adam and Mason Miller doing what they need at the end of the game to get you the W? However the hell you get it done. You got 2 games left against the Dodgers. I think it would be just a great tone setter for the rest of the season. Let me also just prepare everybody for this as well. You could lose 2 in a row to the Dodgers. I mean, obviously that can happen, and the world's not going to end if that does happen, but you'd be setting a really good tone for kind of shaping up the start of the season almost 2 months into the year.
I can tell you're nervous about tonight. You're going down there, which I want to hear about in a second. But listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Kevin Acey's newsletter. He'll join us again tomorrow. I think Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs will join us again tomorrow.
You're nervous about
I'm nervous about today.
Tonight.
Yeah,
tonight's a tough one.
I
No
mean,
question
for
about
Griffin
it.
Canning, like you're gonna have to be as good as you've been, obviously, so far.
And he hasn't had. I mean, it's not like the guy's walked in and all of a sudden giving you this unbelievable confidence.
Oh, he's got an 11 ERA. But listen to this note: the Padres lead baseball in games decided by 2 runs or fewer. Okay, so there's that note.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's really important. They also have the best winning percentage in baseball in 1 or 2 run games. They're 14-5. They're winning at a 737 clip in games decided by 2 runs or less. Again, that's back to the Fabian Ardaya point and his article in The Athletic. The secret sauce is Mason Miller. It's Adrian Morahone at his best. It's Jason Adam. It's holding leads. Like, that's who this team is. There have been years in recent history. 2023 comes to mind. They weren't good in close games. They were awful in extra inning games. This year, they're as good as it comes in the sport. They're playing a lot of those games. They're winning a lot of those games. And that's going to be the way. Sure. That's how you get to the postseason. Now, I don't know if it means you're going to win in the postseason, but that'll get you to the postseason.
Here's the only issue with that. It's like, you know, what they're going to eventually need at some point, you're going to need a little bit of breathing room. And what I mean by that is, can you win every game by 1 run or 2? Right. Can you put that much pressure on your bullpen every single night? How many innings are they eating up on a night in, night out basis? So it's worked up to this point. And, you know, there is a little bit of, I'm sure for Craig Stammen as well, the way he managed the Seattle series, there were some moments where he's like, I'm not screwing around here. We got to get a W. Like early on, they, I think, understand and value, I can't really worry about tomorrow. Not to say that, you know, tomorrow's not going to be an issue if I keep using Mason Miller X amount of times or whatever the case is. But there is a little bit of, at least at this stage, This is how they're winning. It doesn't mean it has to be this way the whole season. It doesn't mean that they can't address certain things. It doesn't mean that they might have some bats today that are struggling, that are not going to just completely start performing, and there's a little bit more breathing room. It's winning for today. I don't know how much it's going to allow you to win over the course of 162 games.
All right, so you're going down there tonight.
Yeah.
And I can just tell in the way you're talking today, you're slightly nervous. I mean, you shared a story yesterday about Game 5 of the 2024 NLDS that you had a ticket to and never went inside Dodger Stadium. Tonight's not like that, right? I mean, you're gonna make your way in, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're not gonna wait until the 8th inning and see if they have a 2-run lead before going into the game, right? You're not gonna sit in your car.
Well, I think the part of the problem is too.
You're going with someone.
I got a buddy of mine that got the tickets, so I don't really have a choice here.
Or you have
so
to
I have
go.
to show up.
And you have good seats. You're showing
Pretty
your
decent
seats, right?
Yeah, pretty decent seats there. When's the last time? It's been a little bit since I've gone to a Padre Dodger game in San Diego. I find myself going, especially because I was living in LA.
Mm-hmm.
They have a series in LA. I'd be like, all right, I'll go to that series.
Right.
There's a weird kind of comfort level, like when you're on the road, and there's a little bit of you're such a small percentage that's there.
Right, of the overall fans.
Of the overall fan base, that it was kind of like, I don't know, there's a weird comfort to that. Like I see a Padre fan, it was like, my guy.
But it's not going to be like that tonight because again, you've got Dodger fans. I don't know what it was like last night.
I don't know.
I don't know what percent.
I was looking. I was trying to analyze.
Obviously, there's a good amount of Dodger fans. I'm sure there will be once again here tonight, but it's not like it was. We all remember it. The Petco Park mid-2010 days when it was like 70% Dodger fans.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a combination of two things. Again, they're at the absolute. This could be the pinnacle. Like, honestly, the Dodgers could never, if they never were as good as they are today, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, could be the highest point of this franchise's history. But you also got a good San Diego Padres team, and you got a team that's obviously showed up on a consistent basis over these handful of years. We said this before. I don't blame people. If your squad's not good, I don't blame you coming out. Listen, in a lot of my time in Los Angeles, I also got a chance to see it. There's plenty of brands there. When USC football is not good, I'm sorry, it ain't the same brand, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Showing up to those games are going to be different. I'm sure there was a time at Dodger Stadium where they went through years where it's like, yeah, this doesn't look like the way it looks today. A lot of it has to do with where are you with your franchise.
And not just that, the whole conversation about a lot of people think in Southern California, it's like, well, you have these fair weather fans or you get infiltrated by other teams' fan bases. I'm watching Knicks Sixers, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with their 4 major professional teams. And
Philly's a phenomenal sports
50
market.
ratings on radio for sports talk in the winter. Yet the Knicks fans infiltrate Philadelphia in that series.
You don't even go that far. Go to a Rams-Niners game. Go to a Rams-Niners game at SoFi.
But that follows the narrative of everyone believes in Southern California.
Oh, in SoCal. Got you.
Everyone infiltrates in Southern California, where I would tell you it's happening elsewhere. We're just not paying attention to it. You know where it's happening? Atlanta. You know where it's happening? Philadelphia.
Sure.
If the Sixers, by the way, had won the last 2 NBA titles and were on the verge of sweeping the Knicks, for example, at MSG, it would be all Sixer fans.
Of course it is.
So it is about, you're right. It's like the state of the franchise.
They're
matters.
at the pinnacle. Like you can't, you probably, again, I'll say this again. I would not be shocked. And maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but this might be the most popular, the brand. I mean, just it's Shohei, it's Yamamoto, it's, Mookie Betts gets lost in kind of the shuffle sometimes.
Absolutely.
So this is obviously as good as it gets. Again, and I'll go back to it yesterday. This is why I think yesterday's game was such a key win, because tonight's going to be a tough one. I'm surprised they win tonight. Are you surprised they win tonight?
It's baseball, so I can't.
You're right
say
about that. You're right about that. But just kind of based off of how last night played, it's going to be a tough one. And a lot of it has to do, if you told me Vasquez was tonight, then I would feel different. And we're going to see Griffin Canny have, it's going to have to put together a couple of games here where your confidence level is higher on him.
Vegas believes what we're saying, which is the Dodgers are a significant favorite, somewhere in that -160, -170 range. By the way, the Dodgers last night were favored against Michael King around -150. They're a heavier favorite here tonight. The expectation is that, LA didn't score yesterday, and they'd scored 30 runs in the prior 3 games coming in. and they're not facing elite pitching here tonight. I hope I'm proven wrong in saying that. But Griffin Canning hasn't proven yet that he's a formidable piece of the Padres rotation. So this, to me, if I'm Griffin Canning, it's like I can prove something to my teammates and myself, not to be Michael King, but go keep the Padres in this
Keep in the game.
5 2/3 innings, 3 runs. Keep them in this game.
Literally just going to say that. And it's not like you face arguably the best pitcher in baseball was yesterday. Right. Arguably the other best pitcher in baseball is tomorrow. You're not facing that tonight. Right. So there's a piece of it. Again, I'll go back to this. There are certain games that you've allowed your defense and your pitching to carry you to a game, to a W. Mm-hmm. That was yesterday. But then there's other games, like 2 that you took in Seattle. The Seattle series is a perfect series. You won one game 2-0. Who pitched in the 2-0 game?
That's a good question.
Was it Vasquez? I think it was Randy Vasquez. I think Vasquez was phenomenal. Right. Okay. You won a game 2-0 with Randy Vasquez where your offense just did enough and your pitching got the job done. Mm-hmm. But then you followed that up with 2 wins where your bats won you the game. This is going to have to be one of those games where the Padres scored 5-6 runs on the Dodgers because he's not freaking Yamamoto and he's also not Shohei Ohtani. If there's a day that you need your bats to step up, it would be today.
I'd love to see it too. Again, they had a good weekend against Seattle, to your point, where they scored, I think, 8 runs in consecutive games. I'd love to see them win a back and forth game. I'd love to see them need 8 runs to beat someone 8-6 or 8-7. Maybe that is tonight. We'll see. For the San Diego Padres, well, that's the winner.
Technically would be the path that if they do win, that's what it's going to have to be.
It seems like it would have to be something like that. But it is, let me say this one more time, it is baseball. And with baseball, it's hard to really predict. All right, on the other side, let's give away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, plus updates on Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, underway tonight at MSG in New York between the Knicks and the Cavs. We're here until 6 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time here. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760.
Great work with you, man.
What's that?
He says final time every time.
Oh, yeah, final time.
And it's like, that's it.
Like
this thing's coming to a
have you ever seen the movie Final Destination? I have not, but I think it's about like dying or something.
Well, he has a point there. The final never means anything. You know, Friday the 13th Part 4 was technically the final chapter, and then they made like 7 more of them. But John does this all the time. When we became the quote new San Diego Sports 760, he said it for like
18 months.
Yeah, 7-8 months before we're not new anymore.
Months. Yeah. No, it is new. It's like when they get new cars on the lot, they're like the new 2026s. They say that for like a year.
Yeah, they do say for a while, and it never makes sense why they say it.
Because you're like promoting it.
Is this series interesting at all to you or no?
Hold on. Let's get to that in a second. Okay. But let's first announce our winner of a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Let's get a drum roll from Brent. Alan's got the winner of today's 4-pack of tickets. Remember the name of the winner?
Yes. The winner of the 4-pack of tickets is Marcos in Pacific Beach.
Marcos in PB.
Marcos, good work, brother.
He is going to.
It was a different Marcos.
Oh, is it different Marcos?
We have
than
multiple
the one in
Marcoses.
PB?
Yes.
What are the odds of that?
Okay. So it's not the Marcos in PB?
No,
okay.
He's not going.
Marcos won.
That's a great call, but yeah.
But not that Marcos.
But one of the Marcoses that used the talkback mic is going to the San Diego County Fair. By the way, Once Upon a Fair is the theme this year. And once upon a fair, there was a tale of food, fun, friends, family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. Wow. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, makes its triumphant return June 10th through July 5th. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after.
It was the Marcos that said that Dodgers fans make him want to projectile vomit.
Oh, yeah.
Projectile vomit. Okay. All right.
If you didn't win today, more chances to win a 4-pack of tickets to the fair all week long.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking me about this series. My level of interest in it? Is that what you're asking? The Cavs Knicks series?
We just watched like arguably one of the greatest game ones in Western Conference Finals history. I'm serious. Double overtime game. That was a phenomenal game. Then you got this. Knicks and the Cavs. I mean, it should be a good series. It should be it's big. I mean, the Knicks got a chance to go to the NBA Finals, legitimate chance to go into the finals. I don't know how much interest I have.
I got to be honest with you, because my wife is away this week. If she was home, this is on the second I get home.
That's right.
When I get home, I'm not putting this on. I just can't. I got to be honest. I will watch every second of the Western Conference Finals. Okay, I can't watch this. I'll watch it at work. I can't watch this. I'm not sure why. I don't know what it is. I just have to be honest with you.
The East isn't very captivating.
That's what it is, I think.
Like the Pistons weren't captivating. The Knicks and Cavs, I don't really care.
James Harden. I don't care about the Cavs. The next story, to your point, it is the Knicks. And they have stars, and it is MSG. I would be excited for the finals.
The West is phenomenal.
But if it's Knicks, whomever in the finals, like if the Knicks get through, I think that's very intriguing.
Yeah,
MSG,
I think so too. Sure.
They have won since 73.
Yeah.
Massive star power with its, whether it's OKC or San Antonio. But I just want to see, I think maybe the end result of this series. By the way, if it's Cleveland out, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to be
excited.
Thrilled. If it's Cleveland, whomever, I don't know.
I know.
I'll be watching because the West is really interesting to me.
But there's such a swing here between these two between the two series. The East and West finals is just one is so much more interesting than the other.
Is it like rude to say that about the Cavs? Like,
but I'm rooting
Mitchell,
for Cavs.
You're rooting for Cavs.
I think I am.
Like Donovan Mitchell's a terrific player.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not into it.
I get it.
Does it have anything to do with it? Essentially, since the playoffs started, everyone's just compared the East teams as, lambs waiting for the slaughter, to where, we're all hyped up on the Western Conference Finals and we're not that pumped up about this just because realistically we don't think either one of them could beat them.
Is it inevitable? Like I do feel like the Knicks would have a shot. I think the Knicks would have a shot.
What do the futures say? So I'm looking at, here are NBA futures.
Mm-hmm.
NBA championship winner at ESPN.com. Oklahoma City remains the favorite, down 1-0. They're plus 125.
Still the favorite.
The favorite.
Okay, interesting.
Second shortest odds, San Antonio, plus 155. Third shortest odds, the Knicks at plus 475. So still pushing 5-1. Cleveland is 22-1.
Wow.
Plus 2,200. They're saying there is no path for the Cavs, even if they win the series, to beat either OKC or San Antonio. I think we all.
Maybe Brent's right on that. Yeah.
Is this like just no? I agree with you. I think the Knicks have a puncher's chance. If they get out of this.
They have a roster, so that's all.
And also the idea of MSG as a site for the NBA Finals, just puts it on like this. I think you'd have amazing ratings. You get the New York market. Boom,
yeah.
And then you combine it with either Wemby or the 2-time MVP.
I think if it's Wemby,
that's even bigger. I agree.
That's big time. That's big time right there. You actually, I think, kind of need a little bit of the Wemby action, because if it's Thunder and Cavs, that's not going to be a highly rated.
No, it's not.
If it's Cavs Spurs, I still think people are going to watch because of Wemby. They'll watch more.
Cavs Spurs.
They'll watch more. They just won't watch a ton.
Yeah.
So am I? I think I'm a little bit of the game plan here, which I've given
tonight?
No game plan.
Drive down, park.
Yes.
Go in.
I'm going to try to go a little late because I don't want to deal with all the traffic.
You're going to go late.
Go a little late.
Well, when you say a little bit late, like 8th inning?
First pitch is 6:40, right?
Yep.
Get in there around 7:10. About a half hour in.
What is this, Chavez Ravine?
So
show up
about
at
a half
fourth?
hour. Yeah, you're going to show up 30 minutes in, and then you're a guy that likes to leave early.
Yeah, depending what the game. Let's see what the score is.
Last night's game was 2 hours and 18 minutes. If you miss 30 minutes and leave early, you'll be there for 1 hour.
Well, yesterday was 1-0.
True. You're saying the odds are going to be longer. I agree.
It's not going to be.
It's probably 2:45.
We'll get 2:45 in.
Yeah. No, but
I
you're
just need
meeting
2 hours.
So wait, the person you're meeting might want
already
to go.
sent me the tickets. You already sent me the ticket.
So you're going to
send me the ticket
inside.
Yeah.
What are you going to eat or drink?
I don't know
or
yet.
buy?
I haven't given much of a game plan on this.
Are you like going in and buying?
Do you know what it
City
is?
Connect?
Let me tell you what it is. If they're playing like
Cincinnati,
I think I could enjoy the game more.
So you won't even enjoy this? This is going to the dentist for you?
It's not going to the. It's like I'm running a business. Like I'm going back to work. Like tonight is kind of going back to work.
Then you shouldn't go.
No, I'm going to the game. I'm already committed to it.
What got you in? Like he said, "Hey, do you want to go to the game?" Or did you say to him, "Want to go to the game"?
No, he asked me if I want to go to the game, and then
And you're like, "Not necessarily."
Let's get one of these in.
Okay.
Like I haven't been to a Padre Dodger game in a while, so I want to kind of see what it's like. I know it's going to be good for the show as well when I come back tomorrow. So,
so you're going for the show.
I think I just figured it out. I think
You're just going basically.
This is basically a work. This is a work trip.
Will you be drinking?
Yeah, I'll have
drink?
one beer.
Yeah. And maybe hot dog, or are you a hot dog guy?
I don't mind hot dogs. I usually get a dog. Usually I'm peanuts and a dog at a ballpark.
You love peanuts.
Yeah, I'm a peanuts guy.
You will definitely be buying peanuts.
And tomorrow or tonight is one of those where you'd be okay with the whole peanut situation because you basically think
Only
peanuts
outside.
should only be sold in a ballpark and nobody can eat them indoor.
I wouldn't eat them inside an arena. I wouldn't. Like I'm not going to go.
Arena, you wouldn't?
No, I'm not going to Viejas Arena and eating peanuts.
It gets a little. It's a little messy.
Yeah, and I
don't know where to put the shells. You know, am I putting them behind the seat in front of me? Is there too many now getting there where the guy's feet is now hitting my peanut shells? There's a lot that goes into it.
And at home, dude, and you've talked about this before. I feel like I need to shower after eating them. There's peanut shells everywhere. The remnants. Peanuts have remnants on them. I'm not a remnant guy.
Let's just put it this way. If I had peanuts, you're going to know, like, I leave a trail. Nobody's getting lost. Like,
Right,
you're like, hey,
exactly.
where is he?
That's hilarious.
He just went to the bedroom.
That's
Like Alan and
hilarious.
Gretel.
That's amazing.
There's a trail there for him to get there.
All right, so here's the deal.
Brent, real quick, Brent, what do you do when you go to a game? You kind of with me on this? Little beer, peanuts, kind of traditional?
I typically don't drink because I have to always drive.
Yeah.
But I'll do hot dogs at Petco. You got to get I'll do garlic fries.
Garlic
every once
fries
in a
are
while.
phenomenal.
And I'll go the place that's in the corner that does the tri-tip nachos.
Yep.
That's like the go-to is I always have to
maybe
get
I
the
go
nachos.
something different. Hodad's is always a good little pick.
Go acai bowl. That's what I do. That's my staple.
I don't knock acai bowl. I'm just not going to have one at Petco.
Come on.
I like acai
Tuesday
bowl.
night.
I just don't, know. What does it say when I'm sitting there watching, you suck, Otani? And then I'm like, I taking a bite of an acai bowl. Who's going to take me seriously?
You could throw it at someone.
That's probably not happening.
That's probably a bad idea.
Otani's pretty good, by the way. He's a pretty decent player.
All right, we're back tomorrow. Kevin Acey will join us tomorrow. Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs as well. Allen's night out at Petco Park, where the Padres take on the Dodgers.
Let's go, Pods. Just a quick
full reaction.
Quick couple of games here against the Dodgers. No big deal.
Chance to win a series tonight, and then tomorrow again at 5:40. We'll get you ready for Game 3. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. We're giving away San Diego County Fair tickets tomorrow as well. For Brent and Alan, I'm John. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. See you tomorrow.